Chapter 1681. You've misunderstood. Hearing this, Xiaoping sighed. I'm not worried that I can't escape, but I'm worried that you'll die here today. Why do you have to come here to die? He put on a compassionate look. But these words infuriated everyone present. Arrogant, too arrogant. And you said we're here to die. Wu Wuti, even if you pass the 5th level of the Tower of Trials, you don't have the right to say such things. Do it, crush him completely. Let's see if he still dares to say such big words. Immediately, the group of people flew into a rage. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they looked like they were fighting bulls. They had the advantage in numbers, millions of them. No matter how they looked at it, they had the absolute advantage, but this kid actually said they were here to die. If this wasn't arrogance, then what was? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, more than 10,000 Poison Clan disciples attacked. Black poisonous gas erupted from their bodies, condensing into poisonous snakes, as if they were endowed with intelligence. They attacked in all directions. Not only were they extremely fast, but the poisonous gas contained strong toxicity. The surrounding people all retreated in fear, lest they breathed in the poisonous gas and got themselves involved. Xiaoping didn't even bother to look. He took a step forward and without any disguise, he struck out with his palm. Buddhist divine power, merciful palm. This palm was golden in color, and a swastika symbol appeared in the center of the palm. Buddhist scriptures could be vaguely seen, as if there were countless Buddhas chanting sutras. Many strange phenomena appeared in the surroundings, and lotus flowers were branded in the void, emitting a fragrance. It was just a palm. The 10,000 Poison Clan disciples didn't know what was happening, but they immediately felt the terrifying power of the palm that could destroy everything. Dong! They let out shrill screams, and their bodies shattered like watermelons. They instantly turned into nothingness, leaving the virtual space. Their souls were damaged. Even when the palm swept out, it blasted hundreds of onlookers away, easily injuring them. The palm wind created a mark that was dozens of kilometers long. In the end, the palm print stopped on a building that was hundreds of meters tall in the distance. It blasted out a golden palm print, and the reinforced concrete walls appeared in the shape of glass. There was a faint swastika symbol imprinted on it. The entire skyscraper seemed to be shrouded in golden light, as if it was illuminated by the Buddha's light. It was extremely mystical. He's indeed a monster who passed the 5th level of the Panwu Pagoda. His battle prowess far surpasses his peers, and Dharma can't kill him. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. As the saying goes, once an expert makes a move, one will know whether or not he is real. It doesn't matter how loud you talk. Once you make a move, you will know whether or not you have real ability. However, Xiaoping's palm strike shocked them completely. It was a palm strike that ordinary golden cores could not match. Even the spectators trembled. This palm strike was truly like a Buddha descending from the void. Buddha light illuminated everything, bringing salvation to all living beings. Countless people were willing to prostrate themselves on the ground and worship it on the spot. Wu Wuti! Many Arhat clansmen were also astonished. No one was more astonished than them. They considered themselves to be the descendants of Buddhism and had a very deep perception. They knew Buddhist martial arts like the back of their hand. But when they saw Xiaoping's palm, their hearts were shaken. This was clearly a peerless demon, but he could actually use Buddhist martial arts to such an extent. Could it be that this demon's understanding of Buddhist scriptures was deeper than theirs? But how was that possible? They did not want to believe such a ridiculous thing. One of us is not his match at all. We must join forces and attack together. Immediately set up a large formation and trap him. Let's take turns to exhaust his magical power. Our people are endless. I don't believe that we can't exhaust him to death. Without a doubt, victory will definitely belong to us. This Wu Wuti will definitely die this time. Everyone was filled with murderous intent. Even though Xiaoping had displayed strength that far exceeded those of the same level, it still could not make them retreat. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. No matter how powerful this kid was, he was only one person, and it was difficult for him to match so many forces. Myriad Poison Peach Blossom Formation. Many disciples of the Myriad Poison clan acted instantly. They appeared in tens of thousands of disciples, scattered everywhere. Each formed a node of the formation, and a terrifying large formation was formed in an instant. In an instant, the large formation covered dozens of miles, and pink peach blossoms grew in the surroundings. It was as if the area had turned into a peach blossom forest, and it was a riot of colors. But these were not ordinary peach blossoms, but peach blossoms that contained countless strange poisons in the world. When these peach blossoms fell, they corroded the ground, and even filled the air with poisonous gas that could poison cultivators to death. Even creatures with poison resistance would be knocked unconscious by these peach blossoms, unable to move. Angel 6 Direction Formation. A group of angels attacked too. They were spread out in 6 directions, and in an instant, a huge hexagram formation appeared. Endless holy light surged from their bodies. This huge formation was extremely powerful, and rays of angelic light surged out. This was also known as the light of purification. When it was blasted out, it could completely purify the enemy, causing them to disappear into the void. Blazing Octagonal Formation. This was the attack of the geniuses of the Fire Bear clan. Terrifying fire magic surged out from their bodies, and a huge fire formation covered the area, absorbing the power of the flames in the air. Vajra Demon Subduing Formation. The monks of the Luohan clan also attacked. They were like angry arhats, displaying the art of subduing demons. Their bodies shone with golden light, as if they were possessed by Buddha. Rays of Buddha light appeared one after another, piercing through the void. Countless Sanskrit characters appeared, and sutras surged out, turning into Vajra, suppressing the world with boundless power. Many forces acted at the same time. One after another, super formations stacked on top of each other. It was as if a world was crushing down on Xiaoping, containing terrifying destructive power. They wanted to suppress Xiaoping in an instant, leaving him no room to fight back. Looks like Wu Wudi is dead for sure. The surrounding onlookers shook their heads and sighed when they saw this. Facing the attack of so many golden core perfected ones, even if Wu Wudi was a monster who passed the Panwu trial tower, he would not be able to escape. After all, when the number of people reached a certain level, the quantity would lead to a qualitative change. No matter how monstrous a cultivator was, it was impossible to resist so many people. It was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. Forget it. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish and send you to the Yellow Springs. Seeing the formation attack him, Xiaoping was not afraid at all. His eyes lit up, and with a whoosh, he took out a Dharma treasure projection, the reincarnation brush. Chapter 1682. Huh? What's that? It's a pen. What's wrong with him? Why did he take out a pen at such a critical moment? Is he writing a will? What the hell? We're already at this point. Can we make it in time? There must be a conspiracy. Immediately, someone sensed that Xiaoping had taken out a treasure. Their divine senses were extremely sensitive, and they sensed that the golden pen was emitting an extraordinary aura. It gave them a strong sense of threat. They didn't believe that this kid took out a pen at such a critical moment to write a will. There must be a great secret behind it. Die. Xiaoping didn't waste time talking to them. He gripped the reincarnation pen tightly and infused his mana into it. Then, he drew in the air. Dong. In an instant, the reincarnation pen exploded with terrifying sharpness. It was a cold white light that seemed to tear the sky in half. It was terrifying beyond compare. The closest to Xiaoping was the 1,000 Poison Peach Blossom Array. The disciples of the 1,000 Poison clan were the first to bear the brunt of the attack. They were instantly hit by the white light. They didn't even have time to react. The entire array was torn apart like tofu and collapsed completely. It couldn't withstand the sharpness at all. Even the disciples of the Thousand Poison clan were hit by the sharpness. It sliced horizontally and the cut was smooth. It was as if they were hit by a peerless sword. Their entire bodies were cut in half. Ah! One by one, the disciples of the Wandu clan let out shrill screams. They were shocked to discover that not only were their bodies cut into two halves, but even their souls were severely injured by this sharp light. Clearly, the power of the pen could pass through the virtual network and injure their souls. If a normal death in the virtual universe could recover their soul energy after resting for a month, they would need to rest for at least 3 years to recover. Die. After killing the disciples of the Thousand Poison clan, Xia Ping didn't stop. The wings of the Kuanping appeared on his back, and he was extremely fast. With the reincarnation pen in hand, he unleashed the sharpness and charged at the geniuses of the Angel clan. He drew again. 7 or 8 rays of sharpness appeared in the air. They cut through the air, separated yin and yang, and formed a terrifying killing net. Boom! The angel hexagon formation set up by the angels was instantly destroyed, and even their bodies were struck by the sharp light. In an instant, they were cut into 7 or 8 pieces, dripping with blood. Endless white light radiated from their bodies. That was the angel light, which tried to destroy all energy attacks. However, it was useless against the reincarnation brush. Even the angel light was cut in half. With just a single strike, all of these angels were killed. Not a single one was spared. The reincarnation brush is really too powerful. It's really the path of reincarnation that separates life and death. Xia Ping was extremely shocked right now. He could feel that the might of this brush was beyond his imagination. Even though it was sealed right now, just the sharpness of the brush alone was enough to kill everything in its path. It was comparable to a supreme-grade spirit weapon or even a half-step saint weapon. He felt that it was too easy for him to defeat his enemies with this pen. No matter what kind of divine ability the enemy used, no matter what magic treasures they were wearing, as long as the reincarnation brush made a gentle stroke, it would be able to cut them into 2 halves and completely pulverize them. Moreover, as he manipulated the writing brush and activated the power of the samsara brush, every single hair on the tip of the brush seemed to be able to release a sharp force that could cut through everything, cut through yin and yang, draw reincarnation, and determine the universe. No one could imagine how terrifyingly powerful the reincarnation brush was at its peak. However, fortunately, he had sealed the reincarnation brush. Otherwise, with the power of the reincarnation brush at its peak, it would have sucked all of his chi in one breath and turned him into a dried corpse. Damn it, what kind of treasure is that? It's too powerful. We can't stop it at all. Oh my God, I was wearing a top-grade defensive spiritual weapon, yet it was cut in half with just one strike. Even my body was cut into dozens of pieces. I can't stop it at all. Sacred artifact. This is definitely a sacred artifact with an endless amount of power. This is too much. This is against the rules. How can this bastard have a saint weapon? This doesn't make sense at all. Right, this might be a supreme treasure left behind by the Pan Wu Tower. He got it from the 5th level of the Tower of Trials, the Pan Wu Saint's treasure. Damn it! How did this demon get his hands on a treasure like this? In this way, who could resist his ferocious might? The heavens are so unfair. Everyone howled, unwilling to accept this. Countless people joined hands and set up a great formation, trying to suppress Wu Wudi so that he would never be able to reincarnate. However, Xia Tian only used a brush to kill them everywhere, easily defeating them. How could they accept this? He was truly unwilling to accept this outcome. However, Xia Ping didn't care whether they were willing or not. Anyone who dared to stand in his way had to be killed. With the reincarnation brush in hand, he was like a tiger in a flock of sheep, killing without restraint. Every time he appeared, the reincarnation brush would draw gently, and a great formation would collapse. The group of people would spit out blood and be heavily injured. Then, he would draw again, and the heavily injured people would be cut into dozens of pieces. Heavily injured, they quickly disappeared from the virtual universe. Oh no, we're no match for him at all. This saint weapon is too powerful. We'll die if we stand in front of it. Retreat, retreat quickly. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. This treasure is extremely strange. It can even harm the soul of the user. Even if the virtual universe weakens it, it won't be of much use. Don't die here for nothing. A group of people fled, extremely shocked. They had received news that those who were killed by the reincarnation brush seemed to have their souls heavily injured. Some of their injuries were so severe that they directly fell into a state of unconsciousness. Although they didn't die, it was worse than death. Who knew how many resources and time they would need to recover from the damage to their souls? This was unbearable. Hearing this news, they were finally afraid. Even if they stayed in the virtual universe, they might not be immortal. There were still powerful treasures that could harm the soul. Yes, the aura seems to be getting stronger. Xiaoping's eyes gleamed. He realized that the more enemies the reincarnation brush killed, the stronger the aura it emitted. The seal on it was also slowly weakening. The sharpness of the brush became more and more terrifying. The enemies couldn't block it at all. Often, a white light would strike and the group of people would die. So that's how it is. Devouring souls can remove the seal on the reincarnation brush and strengthen its power? Xiaoping quickly figured out the reason behind it. The reincarnation pen must have the ability to devour souls, so he could take it for himself. Chapter 1683. Stop, Wu Wudi. We're the geniuses of the peacock race. Do you want to fight to the death with us? Hurry up and stop. There might still be a chance to ease the tension. At that moment, a group of geniuses tried to threaten Xiaoping and find a chance to escape. They knew that the kid's Dharma treasure was terrifying and could hurt their souls. Therefore, they didn't want to die at Xiaoping's hands and suffer heavy losses. I told you not to attack, but you didn't listen. This is the result of being disobedient. If I don't hurt you, you won't understand. Xiaoping held the reincarnation brush and lightly tapped the air. Dong! This beam of white light instantly pierced through the array set up by the peacock race's prodigies. It shattered like glass, and at the same time, produced a terrifying backlash. The next second, the peacock race geniuses let out miserable screams as they were all killed by the reincarnation brush. The reincarnation brush also devoured some of the soul energy they left behind and seemed to be growing stronger. Stop, Wu Wudi. We're innocent. We're just onlookers. We have no grievances with you. Don't attack us. A group of onlookers shouted, indicating that they were innocent. They were just onlookers and had no intention of attacking Wu Wudi. Seeing batch after batch of geniuses die, falling in real time from the virtual world caused them to be terrified to the extreme. They were afraid that Xiaoping would attack them and cause them to die a violent death, bringing disaster to the fish pond. Innocent? No snowflake is innocent in an avalanche. Why don't you understand that? Xiaoping sighed. The reincarnation brush in his hand attacked. Beams of cold light shot out and intertwined in the air, forming a huge net of death that cut through everything. Bang! 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 The geniuses hiding in the surroundings were all killed. It was useless even if they tried to hide in the buildings. A brush instantly tore a building apart and split their bodies in half. In just a breath's time, thousands of people were killed. Spare me. Don't kill me. As long as you're willing to let me go, I swear that I will retreat in the future and never attack you again. Seeing Xiaoping's ferocious might, killing golden core cultivators as easily as killing chickens, many geniuses were so scared that they lost all their courage. They quickly begged for mercy, hoping to live. Retreat? No need, it's better for you to die. That way, even if you want to deal with me, you won't be able to. Besides, your oaths are no different from farting. Who would dare to believe it? Xiaoping showed no mercy, like a tiger in a flock of sheep. As long as the reincarnation brush shook slightly, a ray of light would shoot out. No matter where they hid, no matter what kind of protective divine ability they used, they would be pierced in an instant. The land was completely destroyed by this power. Countless buildings were destroyed, and the ground was full of potholes like the surface of the moon. These people who begged for mercy were quickly wiped out and disappeared from the virtual network. Ah! This peerless devil is vicious and cruel. He has no humanity at all. Fight it out with him. Fight to the death. I don't believe that his magic power is limitless. That's right. We have the advantage in numbers. Even if he has a sacred artifact in his hand, so what? Even if we beg for mercy now, this devil won't let us go. If that's the case, then even if I die, I will bite off a piece of his flesh. All the geniuses clenched their teeth and faced death calmly. Even if they wanted to beg for mercy now, this devil wouldn't let them go. If that's the case, then they will fight it out with him. Even if they die, they will bite off a piece of his flesh. You want to fight it out with your life? You won't give up until you die. Seeing this, Xiaoping shook his head. If fighting it out with your life is useful, then why do we need geniuses and saints? Rumble in an instant, all of his qi was poured into the reincarnation brush. Every single strand of hair emitted white holy light, as if it was activating thousands of sword qi. Xiaoping held the reincarnation brush and the brush danced in the air. Immediately, a huge painting of mountains and rivers was drawn out. It was a painting of mountains and rivers. Hundreds of thousands of mountains, countless rivers, deserts, valleys, and even various birds and beasts walked out from the depths of the mountains. It was extremely lifelike. It was so lifelike that it was as if a world was reviving. Dong! He waved softly and the painting fell from the sky, covering tens of thousands of kilometers. It was as if a small world was crashing into Panwu City. When the painting descended, the mountains and rivers transformed into countless strands of sword qi that pierced through the void and destroyed everything in its path. Bang, bang, bang! All the geniuses were caught off guard and shrieked in pain. Their bodies were like rags and were easily pierced through. Blood flowed everywhere and broken bones were everywhere. Xiaoping didn't care how these people begged for mercy, how desperate they were, how angry they were. With the reincarnation brush in hand, he was like the king of hell that judged the lives and deaths of all races. Dong, dong, dong! The entire Panwu city resounded with the sound of war drums. Every collision was incomparably intense and impassioned, emitting an incomparably tragic aura. The battle went on for a full 2 hours. Almost no one could be seen within a radius of 100,000 kilometers. Half of Panwu City was destroyed by this battle. Broken limbs and corpses were everywhere, and the ground was full of potholes. In the center of the battle, the only building that remained standing was the Panwu Trial Pagoda. The white pagoda seemed to be unchanging. No matter what happened, it couldn't be shaken and remained immortal. The enemies from the Western Universe and the Southern Universe, who were originally furious, could continuously send experts in to fight Xiaoping, but now they didn't dare to send anyone in. Because at least 10 million people had died in this battle. Who knew how many geniuses had been killed? Moreover, Wu Wudi's aura didn't weaken at all. Not only did it not weaken, but it seemed to grow stronger as the battle went on. He was a super monster that couldn't be killed. They quickly realized that even after all their reinforcements died, this kid's magic power still hadn't been used up. Perhaps the only way to deal with this kid was to use divine artifact. The problem was that using divine artifacts was a big problem. Without the consent of the elders, they couldn't use them. Even if they wanted to have a meeting now, it was too late. This also caused them to not dare to send people to die. Is there no one who dares to come? Xiaoping held the reincarnation brush and stood on a piece of barren land. There was a feeling of loneliness like snow. It seemed that no one dared to fight him anymore. He killed so many enemies that they were terrified. However, this battle also gave him many benefits. The reincarnation brush devoured a lot of soul energy. Let's go. Chapter 1684. At this time, the prodigies who had been killed by Xia Ping also left the virtual universe. However, they all let out miserable screams, and their faces were filled with extreme fear. This was because their souls had been severely injured by the reincarnation brush and were almost torn apart. They had suffered almost irreparable injuries. No, my soul was torn apart by that bitch. Oh my God, your soul has been torn apart. How can you recover like this? Not to mention 3 months, you might not be able to recover naturally even after 3 years. No. I originally planned to advance to the restoration realm. I've already reached the perfected golden core realm. Now it's all over. My soul is damaged, and there's no hope for me to advance. My life is over. Wu Wuti, you destroyed my future. I will not live under the same sky as you. We must kill this bitch and take revenge. He's completely ruined us this time. How can this be? This was clearly a simple mission. How did it become like this? That kid didn't die, but we lost 8 generations of our bloodline. Is there any justice in this world? If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have participated in this mission. Now, not only did I not get any benefits, but I also caused trouble. It's over. My life is over. Who can compensate me for my losses? All the prodigies wailed in grief and indignation. Their hatred for Xia Ping had reached its peak. They had thought that they would not die in the virtual network, but they did not expect that Wu Wuti would have such a powerful divine artifact on him. He had killed them all and caused them to lose everything. Now, even their souls had been severely damaged. Some of them had even damaged their foundations and had no hope of advancing in this lifetime. As the saying goes, blocking one's path to wealth was like killing one's parent. Now they had been destroyed and their hopes of advancing. Such hatred could not be described with words. Some prodigies were so regretful that their intestines turned green. If they had known that Wu Wuti was so cruel, they would not have participated in this mission. Not only did they not get any benefits, but they had also suffered such losses. After all, to recover from soul injuries required resources that ordinary people could not imagine. It was possible that they would go bankrupt. One could imagine how regretful they were now. They wished they could turn back time. The news that Xia Ping had destroyed half of Panwu City and killed tens of millions of people spread quickly. Countless people in the universe knew about it. Even if some people wanted to hide it, they could not. This news completely shocked the world, and countless people were dumbfounded. This Wu Wuti is too powerful. He's a peerless demon. In a single battle, tens of millions of people were killed. If this was the real world, rivers of blood would flow. Who knows how many geniuses would fall? Just thinking about it makes one shudder. Don't think that Wu Wuti hasn't done such things before. I remember that not long ago, he went to the southern universe and entered the territory of the 10,000 Poison Clan. In the end, he destroyed 20 commercial planets and caused trillions of people to go missing. Of course, those humans were just ordinary humans. The impact wasn't as great as it is now. After all, the living beings in Panwu City are at least treasure refining realm experts. Most of them are golden core enlightened masters. And those who were killed by Wu Wuti didn't have it easy either. It's said that their souls were torn apart by the power of the Sage artifact. If they weren't in the virtual network, they would have died long ago. Isn't that right? Even so, their souls are injured and they won't be able to log into the virtual universe for at least 3 years. Some of them even have their foundations damaged and won't be able to level up again. Their futures will be ruined. He's indeed a peerless demon. I didn't expect him to commit such heinous crimes just in the virtual network. Everyone was shocked by this news and started discussing it. They were afraid of the name Wu Wuti. It was as if they had seen the birth of a peerless demon that dominated the universe. Many families warned their own people that if they met the demon Wu Wuti, they should flee immediately. They must not fight him head-on, or else their entire family might be wiped out. Xia Ping's battle had completely shocked countless people. Even if there was a bountiful bounty, they still had to weigh their own abilities. Otherwise, they wouldn't be chasing after a wanted criminal, but sending themselves to their deaths. The Southern Universe's 10,000 Poison Clan, the Northern Universe's Mystic Heaven Clan, and the various higher-ups of the Western Universe also received this news. Their faces were as black as coal, and dark clouds covered their faces. This Wu Wuti is getting more and more dangerous. He has now passed the 5th level of the Panwu Trial Tower and obtained a supreme treasure. His strength has improved by leaps and bounds. There's no doubt that his aptitude is extremely amazing. He's a sage's seed. If he doesn't die, he will definitely become a sage. Moreover, he has a terrifying monster like the zombie beast enslaved on him, and he has a sage artifact in his hand. If he becomes a sage one day, how powerful will he be? Will anyone be able to do anything to him? It would be best to have such a person as a friend. Unfortunately, he has become an enemy, so we must get rid of him. Otherwise, we will be in trouble in the future, and we will be hunted until there's no way out. We must not let him continue to grow. Issue a comprehensive bounty. We must hunt down Wu Wuti, find his whereabouts, and kill him without mercy. Many of the higher-ups had solemn expressions. They immediately made a decision to hunt down Wu Wuti with unprecedented strength. They had to get rid of this unprecedented enemy. Otherwise, they would not be able to eat or sleep in peace. The current Wu Wuti already had the ability to shake the foundation of their rule. Whether it was his aptitude to pass the Panwu Trial Tower or his terrifying monster like the zombie beast, it was enough for them to raise Xia Ping's danger to an unprecedented level. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, messages were passed down. Countless forces in the universe were in operation, and they had to find Wu Wuti's whereabouts. A dense net was cast, and Wu Wuti had nowhere to run. In the depths of the universe, many powerful divine wills were interweaving and communicating. Those were the thoughts of sages, and they had also received all kinds of information about Wu Wuti. Old friend, someone has obtained Saint Panwu's inheritance. How many years has it been? Has someone finally obtained Panwu's inheritance? Congratulations! It seems that in the future, our human race will definitely have one more powerful sage. Haha, someone actually passed such a difficult trial. I thought that no one would be able to pass it. I want to see what that junior looks like. But that kid seems to have caused quite a bit of trouble. He has offended many forces, and is causing quite a ruckus. It's just a small fight between juniors. It's nothing. Should we stop them from messing around? No need. This is also a training. Without training, how can one become a sage? Then let's look forward to it. I hope he can surprise us. Let's wait and see. Chapter 1685. In the space of the mountain and river pearl. Xia Ping was sitting cross-legged in a quiet room. Beat. At this moment, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations, host. You have provoked a large number of enemies from the Western Universe. This time, you have received a total of 30 hatred crystals. I hope you can continue to work hard. 30 hatred crystals? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He knew that he would definitely receive a lot of hatred crystals this time. It seemed that it had exceeded his expectations. This time, many people probably hated him to the bone. However, to be able to make up for the hatred crystals he had spent learning the Panwu Sutra, it could be considered a huge gain. However, he was not in the mood to pay attention to this because he could feel that he was at the critical moment of breaking through. The primordial spirit in the depths of the golden core seemed to be about to be born. Walala Xia Ping took out a large number of spirit stones, spirit herbs, and other treasures. He used the sun furnace and instantly refined these resources, turning them into majestic energy that was infused into his body and absorbed by the golden core. Wave after wave of pure energy was infused into his body, like rivers flowing into the ocean, causing the golden core in his body to emit endless golden light. It was incomparably mystical, and ancient scriptures could be vaguely seen on the surface of the golden core. After an unknown period of time, the energy of the golden core in his body seemed to have reached a saturation state. Pa pa pa. Immediately, the huge golden core made crackling sounds. The incomparably hard outer shell of the golden core cracked like an eggshell, and countless fragments fell. Boom! In an instant, a figure walked out from the depths of the golden core. It was completely naked, and its appearance was exactly the same as Xiaoping's. Its entire body was condensed from energy, and it seemed to communicate with heaven and earth, causing the qi of heaven and earth to tremble. The broken golden core fragments also instantly fused into the body of this figure, and a large amount of energy was infused into it, causing the figure to turn from illusory to real, completely solidifying. It stood on a lotus flower and emitted the aura of a god. Vaguely, there seemed to be immortals blowing conches, beating drums, chanting sutras, and ancient people praying. Many mysterious phenomena appeared around Xiaoping, and the surrounding essence energy condensed into energy lotuses that fell from the sky. It was a deluge of heavenly flowers. Primordial spirit. Without a doubt, this was the supreme primordial spirit that Xiaoping had condensed. Returning nature realm. Xiaoping instantly knew that he had finally broken through to the returning nature realm and condensed his primordial spirit. This process was extremely smooth and there were no hiccups. This was also because his accumulation was truly too deep, and his foundation was perfect and flawless. Thus, condensing a soul was something that came naturally, and nothing unexpected would happen. Is this an essence soul? Xiaoping sensed that his primordial spirit was in the depths of his Zifu. It was like another body of his. His consciousness was immersed in the primordial spirit. He felt that his primordial spirit could shed its shell. Whoosh! In an instant, his primordial spirit left his body like a soul leaving its shell. It rose into the air and looked down at the land around him. He could clearly see his body sitting cross-legged on the ground, and he could also see the surrounding scenery. He was not looking with his eyes, but with his divine sense. Therefore, he was observing from a 360-degree angle, without any blind spots. It was like a god's view. He felt that even if his body was completely destroyed, with just his primordial spirit, he would be able to survive for a very long time, and he could even possess someone else's body. This was the power of the primordial spirit. It was like a different level of life. But possessing someone else's body was a big taboo, and at the same time, because the primordial spirit and the body would not be compatible, it would lead to many problems. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, no cultivator in the returning nature realm would be willing to possess someone else's body. I see. Xiaoping carefully felt the power of his primordial spirit. He realized that after he condensed his primordial spirit, he could devour the energy of the void at any time and anywhere, opening a dimensional space, and replenishing the energy consumed in his body. This way, he did not even need to breathe, and he did not even need to eat. He could directly devour the qi of heaven and earth, and he could survive. This was the state of immortality for those who eat qi. The so-called gods referred to the primordial spirit. Therefore, he could now travel through space with his physical body, survive and fight in a vacuum state. Even if the spaceship was destroyed, it would not be able to kill him. What an amazing primordial spirit! Xiaoping felt his primordial spirit, and he discovered more and more mysteries of his primordial spirit. Ordinary returning nature realm cultivators could not let their primordial spirit leave their body for too long. This would cause the primordial spirit to weaken, and it would be injured by all kinds of accident. Therefore, if it was not necessary, it should not be done. But now that his primordial spirit had left his body for more than 10 minutes, he still did not feel any discomfort. He immediately realized that this was the credit of the world tree. At this moment, there was a world tree living in the depths of his primordial spirit. All the roots, branches, and other things on it had become the meridians and blood vessels of his primordial spirit, supporting the entire primordial spirit. Because of the relationship between the world tree, his primordial spirit was extremely stable, like a tree rooted in the soil. Even if it encountered a storm, there would be no problem. Therefore, he could leave his primordial spirit for as long as he wanted. Communicating with the dimensional space. Xiaoping also found that it was easier for him to communicate with the dimensional space. Even without the help of the world tree, he could easily sense the unique and powerful dimensional space in the depths of the void. But with the help of the world tree, he could go deeper into the dimensional space and sense the powerful dimensional worlds. Dong dong dong. At this moment, his primordial spirit trembled, and the world tree trembled. One by one, its branches pierced into the void, extending into the depths of the dimensional space, and opening up a passage to the dimensional space. Immediately, hundreds and thousands of black holes appeared above Xiaoping's head. They were so dense that it made one's scalp go numb. These black holes were all spatial passages that connected to the dimensional world. Rumble, the roots of the world tree trembled and pierced into these dimensional spaces, producing a terrifying suction force. Immediately, a huge amount of energy surged out of these dimensional spaces, like a flood, and poured down continuously. With Xiaoping's body as the center, the area within a radius of thousands of miles became a land of energy tide. This pure, majestic energy was infused into his body as if it was free. The Zifu space in his body, which was originally in a state of withered state, was immediately replenished by this energy. It was as if the earth had suddenly encountered a flood after a drought of 3 months. This is too awesome. Xiaoping was very excited. Devouring the energy of the dimensional space like this was like consuming dozens of 10,000-year-old elixirs, and it was the kind that cost nothing. Crazily infused into his body. Chapter 1686. A few days later, Xiaoping had completely stabilized his early stage of the returning truth realm. At this moment, his body had undergone an earth-shattering transformation. He had completely transformed, becoming incomparably powerful. His muscles were as translucent as glass, and his entire body was flawless. This was the state of returning to the basic. And after advancing to the returning nature realm, his dermic power and divine sense power were more than 10 times stronger than before. The purple mansion space had also expanded by 10 times. Originally, to fill up the entire purple mansion space required a large amount of time and elixirs. But Xiaoping communicated with the dimensional space and absorbed a large amount of dimensional energy. In just a few days, the purple mansion space was filled to the brim. His dermic power was like an ocean. At the same time, his primordial spirit also displayed all sorts of mystical abilities. The martial arts techniques in his body condensed into talismans and merged into the depths of his primordial spirit. Dense talismans appeared. Looking from afar, it was as if an ancient scripture was being born in his body. Even every leaf on the world tree in the depths of his primordial spirit seemed to have turned into a talisman that contained infinite power. It made the power of his primordial spirit even stronger. Dong. Xiaoping gently punched forward. Immediately, the wind from the punch vibrated and a crack that was tens of kilometers long was instantly formed. Many mountains were crushed into powder. He felt that his dermic power was more than 10 times stronger than when he was in the golden core realm. But after advancing to the returning nature realm, it was not all good. Because the golden core transformed into the primordial spirit, the cultivator could not self-destruct and lost the power to perish together with the enemy. But after condensing the primordial spirit, the ability to protect oneself was greatly increased. Even if the body was destroyed by the enemy, the primordial spirit could escape quickly and even possess another body to be reborn. From this perspective, the survival ability of the returning nature realm was many times stronger than that of the golden core realm. After all, if the golden core self-destructed, it would only perish together with the enemy. Once the golden core exploded, the cultivator would also die and there was no possibility of revival. Panwu True Scripture. At this moment, Xia Ping thought of the Panwu True Scripture that he had obtained from the Panwu Trial Tower. This was a technique that he could only cultivate after advancing to the returning nature realm and condensing the primordial spirit. Once he succeeded in cultivating it, he would immediately possess 9 primordial spirits and 9 purple palace spaces. At that time, the amount of magic power in his body would be so dense that it would frighten others to death. Cultivators of the same level as him would be annihilated with a single punch. However, it was not easy to successfully cultivate the Panwu Sutra. The first step was to split his primordial spirit into 9 parts. However, splitting one's primordial spirit was an extremely dangerous thing to do. Even if it was successful, the primordial spirit would be extremely weak, and it might not recover even after several hundred years. Therefore, if he wanted to cultivate it successfully, he would need a treasure that could repair his soul and strengthen his soul energy. As he split his soul, he would be able to heal the injuries on his primordial spirit. Looks like I'll have to rely on the system to exchange for some treasures that can strengthen my soul energy. Xia Ping planned to use the system to exchange for soul treasures to help him cultivate the Panwu True Scripture. Host, you don't need to exchange at all. The angelic crystal you have is the best soul treasure, the system said. Is there such a thing? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He had obtained many angelic crystals. He even had 2 from the lightning tribulation realm. As for the transcendence realm and returning nature realm, he had over 1,000 angelic crystals. However, no matter how he thought about it, he could not find a way to use the angelic crystals. Of course, the system said, every angelic crystal contains the essence of an angel. It condenses all of their soul energy. If the angelic crystal is not destroyed, they can be resurrected in the future through the angelic crystal. If the host can refine the soul energy deep within the angelic crystal, then it will definitely be able to satisfy the host's need to cultivate the Panwu Sutra. However, there is a problem. What problem? Xia Ping asked. The angelic energy in the angelic crystal has impurities. It contains the will of the Lord. The system said, if the host devours the angelic crystal's energy, the more you devour, the more will of the Lord in you. When it reaches a certain level, you will become an angel and become the servant of the Lord, forever enslaved. I see. Xia Ping nodded. He was not surprised at all. After all, the angelic crystal contained a large amount of pure energy. Many people in the universe should know about it, but no one went to hunt angels and obtain angelic crystals. Presumably, those major forces also knew the drawbacks of the angelic crystal. If they accidentally refined it, they would become the Lord's servant and be enslaved forever. This was not a treasure but a trap. This was also why those angels were not worried about losing their angelic crystals to the outside world. They were not afraid that the other party would devour angelic crystals. When it reached a certain level, the other party would become the Lord's servant. Who is the Lord? Xia Ping asked curiously. The Lord is the source of angels. It cannot be said, understood, or described. The system did not explain. Since you said these things, do you have a way to erase the impurities in the angelic crystal? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. 10 hatred crystals. The system's answer was also very simple. Erase it. Xia Ping nodded. Anyway, it was only 10 hatred crystals. This was the key to whether he could successfully cultivate the Panwu Sutra. He could not be stingy here. With a whoosh, he waved his hand and immediately released the angelic crystal on his body. Boom! Immediately, a mysterious force descended from the void and bombarded these angelic crystals. Like a destructive divine light, it erased all matter. Ah! Blasphemer, how dare you blaspheme the Lord? The Lord will not let you off. Human, you are dead. Under the gaze of the Lord, no one can hide. Human, I will wait for you to die. Shrill screams came from the depths of these angelic crystals. They let out sounds of unwillingness, and faint images of angels appeared. Among them were the figures of Oliver, Harley, and the other angelic elders. They seemed to have suffered the greatest torture in the world. They were cut into thousands of pieces, pierced by rays of light, and obliterated. In just a moment, these screams ended and came to an abrupt stop. The soul and will in the depths of the angelic crystals also quickly turned into a wisp of green smoke and disappeared from this space. Cleanup complete. The system replied. As expected, there is something fishy. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. He was secretly glad that he had the system. Otherwise, if he rashly used these angelic crystals, he might unknowingly fall into the enemy's trap. Chapter 1687. Whoosh. Xiaoping sat down cross-legged and took a deep breath. He used the Panwu Sutra and immersed his consciousness into his primordial spirit. Whoosh. Immediately, he sensed that his primordial spirit had appeared in the depths of the Purple Mansion. This space was endless and he couldn't see the end at all. It was filled with purple chaotic air current. The Purple Mansion was just a small world in this boundless world. This was the true sea of consciousness. It was boundless and as vast as the universe. Anyone's sea of consciousness was boundless and had limitless potential. It was just that ordinary people could only open up a small space and couldn't use it all. Boom! In an instant, Xiaoping's Purple Mansion shook. Countless streams of information flowed down from the void. They were golden talismans that quickly gathered together and formed a huge golden axe. The huge golden axe contained terrifying sharpness. It appeared in the chaos and seemed to be able to easily split the chaotic air currents in half. This was the Panwu Sutras, Panwu Sutras, Panwu Sutras, Panwu Sutra. Only by forming this huge axe could one split primordial spirit. Split. Xiaoping moved his mind and the huge golden axe in the depths of the Purple Mansion immediately chopped towards his primordial spirit. With a dong, his primordial spirit was instantly split in half. Immediately, the primordial spirit that was originally the size of a person became 2.5 the size of a person. The Panwu Sutra axe had already split his primordial spirit in half. I'm really injured. Xiaoping could sense that his primordial spirit had suffered a moderate injury. It was as if there was an additional wound in the depths of his primordial spirit. If he didn't treat it, it would probably cause irreparable damage. Refine. Without hesitation, he immediately took out the angelic crystals on him and instantly refined the 3 angelic crystals. A large amount of soul energy rushed into the Purple Mansion and poured into the 2 primordial spirit. With the nourishment of the angelic soul energy, the primordial spirit's injuries also recovered at a visible speed. Even the 2 primordial spirits that were half the size of a person grew like balloons, becoming the size of a normal person. He felt that the weakness in his primordial spirit disappeared without a trace. Replacing it was a sense of fullness and satisfaction. Open up! After stabilizing his second primordial spirit, Xiaoping swiftly carried out the second step of his plan, which was to open up a new dimension within his Violet Palace. This was because every primordial spirit could only live in one Zifu space, and the new primordial spirit needed to live in a new Zifu space. This was just like giving birth to a son. In the future, when he grew up, he also needed a new house to form a new family. Boom! The second primordial spirit appeared in the depths of the sea of consciousness. It held the Panwu splitting axe and gave off a powerful aura. It fiercely chopped at the chaos, instantly exploding with a terrifying power, sweeping up endless storms and rumbling sounds. In an instant, the region within a radius of several thousand kilometers was split open. The chaotic air currents in the surroundings flew into the distance, forming an empty and quiet space. A chance. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of light. He knew that this was a great opportunity. He revolved the magic power in his body and poured it into this new space of the Z Kingdom. In just a moment, a large amount of magic power also rushed into this space. This magic power transformed into a liquid and flowed inside, turning this space into a vast lake. Rumble, Xiaoping communicated with the dimensional space and opened dimensional passageways, swallowing and spitting out a large amount of energy. As if he was filled with wisdom, he crazily swallowed the energy, and the newly opened space also began to tremble. A large amount of turbulent energy rushed in, quickly turning into magic power. The lake of magic power also rapidly expanded, and it began to spin rapidly, forming a huge whirlpool. Under his control, the whirlpool of the lake spun faster and faster. When it reached a certain speed, it was like an awl, drilling into the depths of the chaotic void, continuously opening up the chaotic void. In an instant, the depth of the lake deepened by more than 1,000 times. Even the area of the lake increased rapidly, rapidly growing into a boundless sea, swallowing and spitting out the chaotic air currents in the surroundings. The sea was still spinning slowly, and the whirlpool in the depths of the center was extremely powerful. It was even slowly becoming stronger, causing the area of the sea to expand in all directions. The color of the seawater became deeper, and the magic power it produced became purer. Whoosh! The second primordial spirit's figure flashed, instantly merging into the center of the sea. It was as if at that moment it had become the god of the sea, the absolute ruler of this space. The entire sea suddenly quietened down, as if the storm in the sea had been calmed by the gods. Because of the integration of the primordial spirit, a space barrier also appeared in the space. It was as if the foundation of the space had been successfully forged, completely stabilized, and isolated from the outside world, forming a new purple mansion space. It's a success. Xiaoping's eyes were filled with excitement. Although he had already understood the Panwu scripture, before he succeeded, he would always be worried that something unexpected might happen. Now that everything had ended smoothly, he could not help but let out a sigh of relief. This was enough to prove that the Panwu scripture was definitely the real thing, and that it was priceless. He felt that his primordial spirit was twice as strong as before. Although it was only a second primordial spirit, at the crucial moment it could also merge into one, becoming even more powerful. At the same time, his magic power was twice as strong as before, and he had a second purple mansion space. However, the creation of the third primordial spirit, the fourth primordial spirit, and so on would also be a tough battle. This was because every time he created a primordial spirit, the amount of soul energy needed was twice as much as the previous one, and so on. When he created his ninth primordial spirit, the amount of soul energy needed was simply an astronomical figure. Fortunately, Xiaoping had obtained a large number of angelic crystals, most of which were from Dharma Plane angels, and there were even 2 crystals from Thunder Calamity Plane angels. These angelic crystals contained more than 1,000 times the energy of the Restoration Realm angels. In particular, the energy contained in the Thunder Calamity Plane angelic crystals couldn't even be compared to all the Dharma Plane angelic crystals. And most of the Restoration Realm angelic crystals added up couldn't compare to one Dharma Plane angelic crystal. After all, the difference in soul energy and quality between each major realm was like heaven and earth. In fact, when the Panwu saint cultivated the Panwu scripture, he did not succeed in one go. He spent tens of thousands of years to accumulate the resources to cultivate the Panwu scripture. This was a very time-consuming cultivation method for rich people, and only rich people could afford to cultivate it. Even the direct descendants of the saint's family would probably go bankrupt if they wanted to cultivate this cultivation method. However, since Xia Ping had these resources, he naturally didn't need to waste a lot of time. He could directly cultivate it. But with the experience of success the first time, the second and third time would naturally succeed. The time that Xia Ping spent in seclusion this time also exceeded his expectations. In an instant, half a year had passed. Chapter 1688. Rumble. When the ninth primordial spirit successfully created the ninth purple mansion, Xia Ping's body trembled. The entire space in his sea of consciousness was completely stabilized. The 9 purple mansion spaces and the 9 primordial spirits were distributed in 9 different places in the sea of consciousness, each occupying a corner. His main body naturally occupied the center of the sea of consciousness. Vaguely, the 9 purple mansion spaces formed various strongholds. There were mystical Taoist marks that intertwined and resonated with each other, forming a Panwu formation. It was as if Xia Ping could instantly fuse the 9 primordial spirits into one and turn into Pangu. At that moment, he had a premonition that no matter how strong his primordial spirit was, it would be impossible for him to create the 10th primordial spirit because 9 was the limit. 9 primordial spirits was also the limit of a human soul. If he were to create one more, his entire primordial spirit would collapse and he would become a mindless lunatic. Therefore, it wasn't always better to have more primordial spirit. If there were too many, it would disperse the intrinsic power of the primordial spirit, causing it to weaken and its foundation to be damaged. It would be impossible to improve. I'm too powerful now. Xia Ping clenched his fist. He could feel the powerful mana in his body. It was almost emitting, distorting the air, and causing the ground to tremble slightly. His mana was already terrifyingly dense. It was more than 1,000 times that of an ordinary human. Now that he had created 9 purple mansion spaces, the mana he could contain was even more terrifying. Even a divine beast would be dumbfounded and find it unbelievable if they saw his current situation. That was because they couldn't contain so much mana. Even if a divine beast of the same level appeared in front of him, he would probably be able to use brute force to beat it into minced meat and make it his dinner for the night. Even though his martial arts realm didn't improve much in the past half a year, the improvement in his combat power was incomparable. It was a qualitative improvement. He could fight 10 of his previous selves now. Dong. Xia Ping pointed his finger lightly and hit the ground. A terrifying force blasted out and condensed into a substance. It was like a peerless sword chi that instantly pierced through the ground for thousands of kilometers. It was as if the earth couldn't withstand the power of his body. Shocking cracks appeared and completely separated, forming a huge abyss that was so deep that the bottom couldn't be seen. Bang! He jumped up from where he was and stomped on the ground with both feet. Immediately, a crater that was dozens of kilometers deep appeared. The surrounding ground was shaken to the point where dense cracks appeared like spiderwebs. In an instant, he leaped thousands of meters into the air. Like a cannonball, he easily leaped over the mountains, almost reaching the peak of the sky. Furthermore, this was just the explosive power of his body, not the use of magic power. Just the strength of his body alone was enough to tear apart mountains, sink continents, and reverse rivers. Whoosh! Xia Ping gently descended from the sky, feeling his surging power, his heart filled with gratitude. Of course, his improvement in the past 6 months was not as simple as just increasing his magic power and strength by 9 times. His endurance had undoubtedly increased by thousands of times as well. The 9 great violet mansions grew and multiplied endlessly. They revolved unceasingly like 9 great stars, forming a complete galaxy. The speed at which they breathed in and out the world's origin energy was countless times faster than before. If someone wanted to exhaust the magic power in his body, then that would be the ravings of a lunatic. Even if the other party died of exhaustion, they would not be able to see the day when the magic power in his body dried up. The power of my primordial spirit is so powerful. Xia Ping sensed that each of the 9 primordial spirits in his body was as powerful as the previous one. If they merged, the soul power they could release would not be as simple as 1 plus 1. If he cultivated with the 9 primordial spirits at the same time, his efficiency would be 9 times that of an ordinary cultivator's. Of course, forming the 9 primordial spirits came at a great cost. He had used up all the angelic crystals he had under the tribulation lightning state, and even 1 tribulation lightning state angelic crystal. Only then did he manage to form the 9 primordial spirit. In other words, he only had 1 tribulation lightning state angelic crystal left. The rest had been devoured. He couldn't even imagine how Saint Pan Wu succeeded in cultivating the Pan Wu Sutra, and how he gained such a great amount of resources. After all, Saint Pan Wu didn't have as many trump cards as he did. When he was at the Golden Core stage, he killed a bunch of powerful angels with a scheme and obtained a large amount of angelic crystals. Most importantly, Saint Pan Wu probably couldn't remove the impurities in the angelic crystals, and he probably couldn't devour the pure soul energy in the angelic crystals either. Even if he had angelic crystals, it would be useless. Connect to the dimensions. Xia Ping immediately activated the power of his primordial spirit. He found that his primordial spirit was much more powerful than before. Even without the help of the World Tree, he could still sense the terrifying energy in the depths of the dimensions. Immediately, the dimension of fire, dimension of ice, dimension of lightning, dimension of storm, dimension of earth, and so on appeared in his nascent soul's perception. Every dimension was mysterious and powerful, and contained endless energy. If a tiny bit of that energy exploded, it could destroy a galaxy and countless planets. Whoosh! At this moment, Xia Ping's 9 primordial spirits flew out of his body and stood in the air. They hovered between illusion and reality, faintly emitting divine might. The 9 primordial spirits formed seals with their hands, and a great formation appeared. The void trembled slightly, and in an instant, it connected to the dimensional world. 9 black holes appeared in the void, and each black hole was the size of a bucket. They directly opened up 9-dimensional space passages. Immediately, waves of terrifying energy brewed in these black holes, as if they were about to surge out. They kept rolling and giving off a frightening aura. This energy was too powerful and violent, and it was infinitely destructive. If this energy was released without regard for the consequences, it could instantly destroy a planet or a continent. If Xia Ping encountered an undefeatable enemy, he could immediately connect to the dimensions and release the dimensional energy to destroy everything. This was a powerful trump card. Ordinary returning truth cultivators couldn't do this at all. After all, just connecting to the dimensions was already enough to kill them, let alone opening the dimensions and letting the energy inside pour out. Even a slightly more monstrous cultivator could only open a dimensional passageway the size of a thumb, and they could only maintain it for a few seconds. This little amount of time and the size of the passageway could not cause any effective damage. Chapter 1689. At this time, on the other side, in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River, Qiuxiu, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei also stayed in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River for half a year, but they did not just sit in this place with nothing to do. There were a lot of resources in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River, such as crystal fragrant rice, golden corn, and other spirit grains, as well as countless precious medicines. These things were priceless in the outside world. Even the direct descendants of the super families had to pay a high price to enjoy them. Not to mention, these resources seemed to be free in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. They were completely treated as daily food, as their daily food. Moreover, there was a Tautai that ate and drank like crazy, consuming dozens of tons of food every day. They trembled with fear when they saw it. Just the daily food alone was not something an ordinary family could afford. If it was not for Xiaoping, anyone else who wanted to raise a Taotai would go bankrupt in a few days. With the help of a lot of resources, Qiuxiu, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei's cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds, faster than before. They had already advanced to the late stage of the treasure refining realm, and were about to break through to the true fire realm. Also, eating a lot of spirit grains as food also filled their bodies with spirituality, purifying their blood, improving their qualifications, and obtaining endless benefits. They could even enter the virtual network at any time and find masters from all over the universe to fight and increase their combat experience. This was many times better than when they stayed in Mingyue Court. After all, in Mingyue Court there was scheming everywhere. Every time they fought for resources, they had to be on guard against their senior and junior sisters. It was very tiring. How could they be as happy as they were now? This place is simply heaven, Su Mei said emotionally. She felt that she had been decadent for the past half a year. She almost felt that the universe was a very beautiful and safe place, and she did not have much vigilance. The entire space of the Pearl of Mountain and River was built perfectly. It was completely different from the Pearl of Mountain and River that Xiaoping had just obtained. After a lot of resources, this space was no different from a real world. It was surrounded by farmland with a lot of spirit grains, a world of spirit medicines, and many lush forests. The spirit of heaven and earth was extremely rich, and it could be called a holy land for cultivation. And where they were, Corinne had used nanoengineering robots to build a huge human town, with power generation, water conservancy, sewage works, and so on. It had all the modern facilities, and it could be said to have everything. Of course, there weren't many people in this town, no more than 100. Compared to Mingyue Court, this place is indeed heaven. I don't know where he found so many treasures. It's simply incredible. Qiuxiu agreed and was very emotional. She was no longer a rookie who had just entered the universe. She had been in Mingyue Court for several years and was well aware of the value of these resources. Golden corn, crystal rice, and the like were all priceless. Even a super family would not be able to afford such extravagance. Putting everything else aside, even a saint's family wouldn't dare to say that they were raising a Taotai. This was purely the behavior of a prodigal son who had too much money to spend. If a member of a family dared to do such a thing, the next day, he would be chased out of the family by the angry elders of the family. They had never seen such a wastrel. However, Xiaoping dared to do such a thing. Moreover, he raised a Taotai effortlessly. If anyone knew about these things, they would definitely be dumbfounded. Haha, not only is this heaven for cultivation, but it is also a heaven for men. I didn't expect that bastard Xiaoping to be so corrupt. He even has dozens of female slaves. Nangong Wu gritted her teeth. She was so angry that her teeth were itching, and her beautiful eyes were spitting fire. She knew that there were many female slaves in the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. They were all from various major races in the universe, such as the Angel Clan, the Elf Clan, the Rabbit Clan, the Luohan Clan, and so on. The girls of each race were very beautiful, and there were dozens of such girls. One could imagine Xiaoping's daily corrupt behavior. What an absurd guy. This was no space for cultivation. It was clearly this beast's harem, a place where he would do that. When she thought of this bastard doing nothing good all day, especially capturing slave girls, she was furious. That bastard had never seen him do anything serious. He may not be so easy to deal with. In my opinion, those girls seem to be still young. Su Mei giggled. They are still young for now. That's just because he's very busy and doesn't have time. When he has time, you can see if those girls are still young. They must have been ruined beyond recognition. There are so many children. Nangong Wu gritted her teeth. Su Mei and Qiuxiu were both speechless and couldn't refute. According to that pervert's character, how could he not eat the meat that was already in his mouth? They had never seen a wolf that didn't eat meat. Boom! At this moment, the entire space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers shook, causing a huge tremor. What's wrong? What happened? Nangong Wu was shocked. For the past 6 months, the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers had been calm and peaceful. There had never been any accidents. Why did it suddenly shake so violently? Look, there are 9 black holes in that mountain range. It seems to have triggered the power of the dimensional space. Chioshu squinted her eyes and looked into the distance. She sensed that the 9 black holes contained a terrifying energy storm. There were flames, ice, lightning, earth, water, and other dimensional energies. These energies were extremely violent, majestic, and beyond imagination. Once these energies from the dimensional world poured out, everything within a radius of millions of kilometers would be destroyed. It could be said that this was the true power of destruction. It was terrifying. Isn't that where Xia Ping is in seclusion? Su Mei recognized that it was where Xia Ping was. Such a shocking aura. Could it be that he has come out of seclusion? He has successfully advanced to the returning nature realm? Nangong Wu guessed. In fact, seclusion for half a year was long enough. No matter what kind of divine technique he cultivated, there should be a result. He must have successfully advanced to the returning nature realm. Chioshu nodded. This is the power of condensing the primordial spirit and communicating with the dimensional space. Other than the returning nature realm experts, no one can do it. It is an ability that perfected golden core can't reach. She had read many cultivation secret manuals in the Moon Pavilion. Naturally, she knew the magical power of the returning nature realm expert. What a shocking aura. Su Mei's beautiful eyes revealed a hint of brilliance. I have also read many ancient books, but I have never seen a perfected person of the returning nature realm open such a huge dimensional channel. This is almost triggering the energy of the dimensional space. I think even the Transcendence Realm experts can only do this. As expected of Xia Ping, the dimensional channel has disappeared. It seems that his seclusion this time was very smooth and successful. Chioshu also noticed that the 9-dimensional channels had disappeared quickly. The strange phenomenon that caused the heaven and earth to change color had also disappeared. Everything returned to normal. Whoosh. Chapter 1690. Xia Ping. When Chioshu, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei saw Xia Ping coming in front of them, they were shocked because Xia Ping's aura was really too strong. If it was before, they could barely feel the gap between them and Xia Ping and felt that he was like an insurmountable mountain, but now it was different. They could no longer see the gap between them and Xia Ping. They could only feel the greatness of the two, which was the only way to describe it. He was like a god beyond imagination. In fact, they had seen many Dharma Plane elders of Minghui court, and they were also unfathomable, but they could not compare to the current Xia Ping. They were not on the same level of strength. I haven't seen you for half a year, and you've gained a lot of weight. Xia Ping touched his chin and looked at Chioshu and the others. Pfft, who's fat? Shameless. Chioshu, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei spat at Xia Ping. They were so angry that their teeth were itching, and their faces were flushed red. They hadn't seen him for half a year, and they thought that Xia Ping would say something. They didn't expect him to say that they were fat the moment he opened his mouth. How preposterous! However, they were very guilty. They had been eating and drinking well in the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers for half a year, and they lived like princes. When they were free, they planted flowers and plants. Maybe they really could gain weight. Oh, in the past half a year, what have you thought about it? Are you going to follow me or travel alone? Xia Ping looked at Chioshu and the others, wanting to ask their plans. You're still asking us what we're going to do? Nangong Wu gritted her teeth and stared at Xia Ping. You made us leave Minghui court and become traitors. We have nowhere to go. Do you want to leave just like that? You must take responsibility for this. Chioshu and Su Mei also stared at Xia Ping, making it clear that they were determined to follow him. Okay. Xia Ping nodded. Then you will follow me back to Qinkuan sect and change your identities. Join the Qiankuan sect as my maidservant. I believe no one will dare to not give me face. Qiushu and the others all knew of Xia Ping's identity in the Qiankuan sect. He was the disciple of a saint, someone who stood above everything and was comparable to the sect's elders. Moreover, he had displayed exceptional talent, so who would dare to not give him face? It could be said that Xia Ping's days in the Heaven and Earth sect were much more comfortable compared to them. The moment he entered the sect, he ascended to the heavens in a single step. No one dared to obstruct him, and all of them would go up to fawn over him. Comparing oneself to others was truly infuriating. Why was this baddie living so comfortably while they were in such a miserable state, often scheming against each other and having harem fights with their senior and junior sisters? They were very indignant. They were too indignant. Of course, you're just maids on the surface. In reality, your treatment is similar to that of Qiankuan sect's disciples. You can enter and leave Qiankuan planet at will and stay on my Yan Huang Peak. Xia Ping said, from now on, you can use Yan Huang Peak as your base of operations. No matter where you go on an adventure, there won't be any problems. Furthermore, you can also contact Su Ji, Yuqiqi, Jiang Yaru, and Chu Rong. They all happen to be in the same sect. Yes, I understand. Qiushue, Su Mei, and Nangong Wu all nodded to show that they understood. At present, it seemed that Xia Ping's plan was the most appropriate. Although they had left Mingyue Court, they had joined the Heaven and Earth sect, so it was not a big loss. Moreover, they had Xia Ping, a disciple of a saint, as their backer. They believed that no one would dare to provoke them. In the future, their days in the Heaven and Earth sect would probably be many times more comfortable than in Mingyue Court. Alright, then let's go back to Qiankuan planet. I haven't been back for a long time. Xia Ping immediately said. A few days later, the stars crossed countless galaxies and finally arrived at Qiankuan planet in the Eastern Universe. It quickly landed on Yan Huang Peak, where Xia Ping lived. The cabin door opened, and Xia Ping and the others walked out of the spacecraft. Is this the headquarters of the Heaven and Earth sect? The aura is indeed no less than that of Mingyue Court. Qiushue, Su Mei, and Nangong Wu walked out of the cabin and looked around. They could sense the rich spiritual qi of Heaven and Earth on this planet, as well as the powerful restrictive formations, which made their hearts palpitate. They were also amazed. It seemed that the strength of the Heaven and Earth sect was no less than that of Mingyue Court. They might even be stronger to a certain extent. They could also see the true strength of the Heaven and Earth sect. After all, every saint-level sect had a super trump card that they would not use unless it was a critical moment. However, in terms of ruling the galaxies, the Heaven and Earth sect occupied 6 major galaxies, while Mingyue Court only occupied 3. It was obvious that the Heaven and Earth sect was twice as powerful as Mingyue Court. Otherwise, they would not have been able to rule over 6 major galaxies. Master, who are these people? At this moment, the servants on Yan Huang Peak walked over and greeted Xia Ping respectfully. Then, they looked curiously at Qiushue and the other unfamiliar women. Yes, they are my personal maids that I brought back from my travels. From now on, they will be members of Yan Huang Peak. Bring them down to register their identities and arrange their residences. Xia Ping said casually. Personal maids. Many servants had strange expressions as they looked at the 3 stunning women. They also had their own plans. Although they were personal maids, in reality, they were his concubines, the future mistresses of Yan Huang Peak. However, for the direct disciple of the Heaven and Earth sect and the eldest disciple of the Dark North Saint, it was natural for him to have a few concubines. As long as Xia Ping was willing, he could even have a harem of 3,000 beauties. Once he opened his mouth, who knew how many kingdoms' princesses would rush over and offer themselves to sleep with him? Yes, master. These servants did not say much. After receiving the order, they immediately went to arrange the residences of Qiushue, Nangong Wu, and Su Mei. At this time, the news of Xia Ping's return to Yan Huang Peak had spread throughout the heaven and earth sect. Many people knew about it. At this moment, on a mountain peak, that was where the three great elders of the Ma clan lived. They were Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho. They were all Transcendence Realm experts. Yes, that kid Xia Ping is finally back? I have waited for a long time. The heaven accessing secret area is about to open. I was really afraid that the kid did not return to Heaven and Earth Star and directly went to the heaven accessing secret area. To be able to return at this time, even the heavens are helping us. That kid just joined the Heaven and Earth sect not long ago. It is really a waste to go to the heaven accessing secret area. His supreme token should be given to me so that it will not be wasted. Let's go to Yen Huang Peak and ask him for the supreme token. But what if the kid refuses? We can't make a scene at Yen Huang Peak. After all, Dark North Saint is his master. Dark North Saint will not care about this kind of thing. Moreover, he is still in seclusion and cannot make a move. When he comes out of seclusion, what is done cannot be undone. He will not be able to do anything. But this will offend the saint. So be it. Anyway, he will not die. This is related to our opportunity. What are we afraid of? Then what should we do? First, persuade him nicely and give him some benefit. If he is not willing, we can only take action. I believe he is also a person who knows how to adapt to circumstances. With his current strength, entering the heaven accessing secret area is also suicide. That's right. We are also helping him to prevent the sex geniuses from dying in the heaven accessing secret area. Stop talking nonsense. Let's go to Yen Huang Peak immediately. Chapter 1691. An hour later, on Yen Huang Peak. An elder is visiting? Let them in. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He had wanted to rest, but he didn't expect to hear an elder visiting. He temporarily gave up the idea and let the elder in. After all, the other party was a Dharma plane expert. He was highly respected in the Qiankuan sect and had worked hard. Whoosh! Soon, three elders walked in directly from outside. They were Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho. Although they looked old, their auras were not to be underestimated. They walked with majestic steps and seemed to be one with nature. They seemed to have comprehended the mysteries of the sun and moon and had the power to move planet. Greetings, Elder Ma. May I know why you have suddenly come to visit? Xia Ping went straight to the point and didn't bother with pleasantries. He recognized the three Qiankuan sect elders. They were all from the Ma family. It was said that 10,000 years ago, the Ma family was just an ordinary family that was inconspicuous in the universe. The family head was at most at the Golden Core realm. But suddenly, Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, Ma Mingho, and the other two geniuses of the Ma family appeared. They were like birds of a feather and joined the Qiankuan sect. In the end, they supported each other and advanced by leaps and bounds. They had many fortuitous encounters and now, all of them advanced to the Dharma aspect realm and became heaven and earth sects elders. The Ma family also became a very famous family in the heaven and earth sect. This also made them the inspirational idols of many people. Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho looked at each other. Without hesitation, they said directly, "Junior brother Xia is really a straightforward person. Then let's get to the point. I believe junior brother Xia also knows that the heaven accessing place will open in more than a week. At that time, everyone will be watching." What? It will open in a week? So soon? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Junior brother Xia doesn't know? It seems that you have been cultivating so hard that you don't know what is happening outside. Ma Guowei smiled and flattered him. Oh, thank you for telling me this. Then I will go and prepare to enter the heaven-accessing secret realm to obtain opportunities. Xia Ping thought that the three elders were here to tell him about the opening of the heaven-accessing secret realm. Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho's mouths twitched. They immediately knew that Xia Ping had misunderstood. Who did this bastard think their elders were? Even if he really wanted to inform them, he wouldn't have sent 3 Transcendence Realm Elders to inform them. This was simply overkill. Junior Brother Xia, you misunderstood. We're not here to inform you of the opening of the heaven-accessing secret area. We have something to discuss with you, Ma Guwei said. What is it? Xiaoping asked. Previously, Junior Brother Xia obtained a heavenly connection token, right? We would like to purchase it. Name a price. Ma Xingping revealed his true purpose for coming to Yan Huang Peak. You want to buy it? But the token is already bound to my soul. No one else can use it. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect the 3 elders to come here for this purpose. That's not a problem. The 3 of us have a secret technique that can remove the binding between your soul and the Heaven's Mandate Medallion, allowing a new person to become the Heaven's Mandate Medallion's master. Ma Mingho indicated that he had a secret technique. In fact, they weren't the only ones with secret technique. Many forces in the universe had similar secret techniques that could remove the binding of the Heaven's Mandate Medallion and allow others to enter the heaven-accessing secret area. Unfortunately, this required the consent of the original owner to have a chance. However, some powerful figures of diabolism would force those who had the Heaven's Mandate Medallion to be tortured and tortured. Naturally, the other party would be willing to give up the Heaven's Mandate Medallion. Of course, we won't let you suffer a loss. We can give you enough compensation. Ma Xingping indicated that he would compensate Xiaoping generously. Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes suddenly lit up. He said, Really? Then you can give me a heavenly flame, universe longevity elixir, 8 divine wood, 9 heaven-living soil. He listed a series of treasures and looked at the Ma family's 3rd elder eagerly. If the other party could give him these treasures, it wouldn't be a problem for him not to go to the heaven-accessing secret area. However, the more they listened, the darker their faces became, like charcoal. Hearing that the treasures were getting more and more ridiculous, they couldn't take it anymore. Enough, Junior Brother Xia, stop talking. We don't have any of these treasures. Not a single one? You've been elders for so long, and you haven't even gotten this bit of profit? Aren't you a little useless? Xiaoping looked at the Ma family's 3rd elder with disdain, as if he was looking at 3 paupers. What useless? Junior Brother Xia, do you know how much you're asking for? Ma Xingping immediately exploded in anger. A heavenly flame? How can you even think of that? Are heavenly flames so easy to find? They are distributed in various dangerous places in the universe. Entering them is almost certain death. Furthermore, you have to subdue them. If you're unlucky, you'll be burned to death. If heavenly flames were so easy to find, they would be all over the street. Heavenly flames are fine, but you still want the universe longevity elixir. Do you know what kind of elixir it is? It's an elixir that can increase one's lifespan. It's priceless. Eating one can increase one's lifespan by 10,000 years. Even Thunder Tribulation Realm experts covet it. Do you know how much it's worth? We can't afford it even if we go bankrupt. Other than that, there was also the 8 Extremities Divine Wood, the 9 Heavens Living Loam, and so on. Which one of them wasn't a natural oddity, a supreme treasure of the universe? They were all treasures that couldn't be bought with money, and they all wanted to get their hands on them. If they could obtain these treasures, they wouldn't have to take the risk to go to the heaven-accessing mystic realm. After all, they had to face great danger there. If they weren't careful, they would die. The Ma family's 3rd elder gritted his teeth and stared at Xiaoping. He felt that this kid was simply opening his mouth and treating them like fat sheep to be slaughtered. Cram as far as your thoughts can go. Xiaoping looked at the Ma family's 3rd elder with even more disdain and said, Being poor is being poor. What other reason is there to explain it? You want to talk about feelings with me when you don't have money? Do you think I'm a teenage girl? The Ma family's 3rd elder's face turned green. They had lived for so long, but this was the first time someone looked down on them for being poor. They were Dharma characteristic realm experts. Although they weren't rich enough to rival a country, they weren't something a golden core realm perfected being could compare to. It was an exaggeration to say that a random strand of hair they plucked was thicker than an ordinary person's thigh. A golden core realm junior actually dared to look down on them like this. It was really preposterous. Junior brother Xia, I'll be honest with you, Ma Guowei said in a deep voice. This time, entering the heaven-accessing mystic realm is full of danger. Dharma characteristic realm experts can only go in to protect themselves. Golden core realm perfected beings will only die if they go in. They will become fat sheep waiting to be slaughtered. Chapter 1692. Oh? Very dangerous? Can it be more dangerous than the Abyss World? Xia Ping said casually. He had been to the Abyss World for training. That place was full of terrible abyss demons and ambushes. What place could be more dangerous than the Abyss World? The three elders of the Ma family gritted their teeth. They were so angry that they almost couldn't breathe. They had almost forgotten that Xia Ping had been to the Abyss World for training and had fought with demons. He had seen countless dangers. Perhaps ordinary dangers really couldn't scare him. Junior brother Xia, the heaven-accessing secret land is different from the Abyss World. Last time you went there, you had the support of your elders. You could escape at any time when you encountered danger. But the heaven-accessing secret land is different. You can't escape when you encounter danger. Ma Guowei said. More importantly, everyone who enters the heaven-accessing secret land is basically an expert, at least above the returning nature realm. There may even be some old monsters in the Thunder Retribution realm hiding in it. Moreover, geniuses from the four major universes will also appear. You are a genius of our East universe. If you encounter geniuses from other universes, they will definitely kill you and attack you together. He said that the heaven-accessing secret land was much more dangerous than the Abyss World. If you encounter experts from other universes, you will definitely be besieged and killed without mercy. This was because for countless years, the creatures in the four major universes had killed each other and formed a lot of hatred. If there was a chance to weaken the other party, they would definitely not hold back. Even those who entered the heaven-accessing secret land were not only human beings, but also other races. Especially those special races, each of them had strange abilities. If you were careless, you would definitely be plotted against and die. The danger of the heaven-accessing secret land is not only the enemies of other universes and other races. What is more frightening is the environment inside the heaven-accessing secret land. Ma Mingho also threatened. I remember that in ancient times, when fighting with the abyss demons, the heaven-accessing secret land was one of the main battlefields. Countless sages fought in it. As a result, many sages died. The fighting caused the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. After those sages died, they turned into extremely dangerous secret lands, leaving behind terrible resentment. If you accidentally get close to these secret lands, you will immediately be targeted by the resentful spirits of the sages or die in those secret lands. Even your body can't be found. The secret lands evolved by the sages? Are the sages so powerful after they die? Xia Ping blinked his eyes. You don't know how terrifying sages are. They are beings from another dimension. Ma Xingping sneered and pointed out to Xia Ping. Their bodies form a space of their own, condensing a small world. After death, these solidified small worlds do not disappear, they will immediately appear in the real world. In fact, there were many unique planets and strange and terrifying continents in the universe, and a considerable number of them had evolved from the corpses of saints. It is said that some invincible saints are even more astonishing after their death. Their two eyes will turn into the moon and the sun, every drop of blood will turn into an ordinary planet, their flesh and blood will turn into land, their hair will turn into rivers, and their brains will turn into mountains. Their entire bodies will evolve into a vast and boundless star field. He was incomparably emotional and felt that the divine abilities of a saint were simply unimaginable. It was not something that an ordinary person could imagine. Every drop of blood in a person's body was extremely beneficial to an ordinary person and could extend their lifespan. Therefore, saints were the highest goal of almost all living beings. They represented transcending the mortal realm and becoming a saint, breaking away from the realm of mortals. Oh, thank you for telling me these details, Elder Ma. I will pay attention. Xiaoping nodded. What the hell? Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho were all stunned. They said so much just to intimidate Xiaoping, to let him know how powerful they were and to obediently hand over the supreme token. But after saying so much, it turned out that this guy thought they were telling him all kinds of information about the heaven-accessing secret land and were giving him benefits. Junior brother Xia, I have said so much. Don't you have any idea in your heart? According to your current strength, entering the heaven-accessing secret land is courting death. Not only will you not get the treasures, but you may also die. You are still young. Why go in now? It is not too late to enter after you advance to the law manifestation realm. Anyway, the heaven-accessing secret land will open every once in a while. Ma Guowei tried his best to dissuade him. Not strong enough? You look down on me? Xiaoping squinted at them and said, Well, you guys fight with me. If you win, I will give you my supreme token with both hands without a penny. But if you lose, then all the treasures you have will belong to me. Do you dare to bet? He proposed a bet that would ruin him. What did you say? If you lose, you will lose the supreme token. But if you win, all the treasures we have will belong to you? This bet is too big. You are too greedy. This bet is very unfair. Do you think we will agree? Ma Xingping stared at Xiaoping with a pair of bull eyes wide open. Ma Guowei and Ma Mingho were also very dissatisfied and looked unfriendly. Greedy? Who is the greedy one? Do you think you don't need to pay a price to get the supreme token? It is ridiculous to want to enter the heaven-accessing secret land to search for treasures without this kind of psychological preparation and awareness. If you don't agree, get out of here immediately. Xiaoping tried to provoke them. You. The third elder of the Ma family was half dead with anger. You what? You are not convinced that you are weak. Xiaoping said disdainfully. You three elders of the law phase realm don't even have the confidence to fight with me and think that you might lose. You want to become a sage with this kind of virtue? You must be dreaming. Go home and enjoy your retirement. Don't come out. Okay, we agree. Since you want to lose, we will fulfill your wish. But we need to inform the sect leader about this and sign the contract so that we can't go back on our word. Ma Guowei rolled his eyes and immediately agreed. He was afraid that Xiaoping would go back on his words and wanted to find the sect leader as a middleman. In this way, even if Xiaoping lost, he could not go back on his word. Ma Xingping and Ma Mingho both sneered. They were secretly happy and did not stop him. In their view, Xiaoping's action was to give them the supreme token. There was no reason for them to refuse. In fact, they were very happy. Before, they thought that they would have to pay a great price to get the supreme token from Xiaoping. Now it seemed that it was as easy as blowing off dust. No problem. Let's find the sect leader. See you at the dueling platform tomorrow. Xiaoping waved his hand and decided this matter. He had just reached the early stage of the returning nature realm and condensed the 9 primordial spirit. His combat power was so strong that it was terrifying. He just needed a battle to prove his strength. Chapter 1693. At this moment, Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho left Yan Huang Peak in a good mood. Haha, we've searched high and low in the world, only to find it by chance. I didn't expect that kid to be so stupid. He even dared to agree to a duel with the 3 of us. He's obviously giving us the heaven-connecting token. Ma Xingping said proudly. That kid isn't stupid, he's confident. I sense that his aura is different from before. He must have reached the returning truth realm and condensed an essence spirit. Ma Guowei said in a deep voice, his eyes shining brightly. Impossible. That kid just joined the Heaven and Earth sect and was only at the Purple Palace realm. How could he have reached the returning truth realm? That's too scary. Ma Mingho was shocked when he heard the news. He thought that he was a genius and had many fortuitous encounters. But from the Purple Palace realm to the returning truth realm, he had experienced 3,000 years of suffering. But this kid had reached the returning truth realm in just a few years. His speed was frightening. Without a doubt, this kid has a big secret. His luck is like a dragon, and he has many fortuitous encounters. Ma Guowei's eyes were cold. If he wasn't the disciple of the Dark North Saint, I would really want to capture him and study him to see what treasures he has. It's better not to act rashly. The wrath of a saint is not so easy to bear. We can bully each other, but that's because the saint thinks that this is a form of training for their disciples. They won't interfere casually. However, if we kill each other, that's another matter. If the saint wants to kill us, it'll only take a single slap. Ma Xingping said with fear. I'm just saying. I don't have the guts to do it, and there's no need. Ma Guowei waved his hand, but maybe because of this, after reaching the returning true realm, he started to look down on everyone. He thinks that he can fight across realms and beat us elders. He is very arrogant. Maybe he is used to fighting above his cultivation level and is used to being arrogant. He can defeat a Guasian cultivator as a Jindan, but a Dharma is completely different from a Guasian cultivator. The difference is not just 10 times but more than 100 times. The higher the level, the greater the difference. Even if a monster cultivator reaches the late level, he can't fight above his cultivation level. Ma Xingping sneered. Ma Mingho clenched his fists and said ferociously, "This time, we have to teach this disciple of the saint a lesson so that he won't be so arrogant. Perhaps this is also an opportunity to teach him a lesson. The status of us veteran elders is not that easy to challenge. All right, go and inform the sect leader immediately. Let him be the middleman. Don't give him the time and opportunity to regret." Ma Xingping immediately said. The other two nodded and quickly flew to where the Qiankuan sect's sect master was. Very quickly, the news of the battle between Xia Ping and the 3 elders of the Ma family spread through the entire Qiankuan sect like a hurricane. All the disciples and elders in Qiankuan Star were alarmed. It was because this was an unprecedented matter. A disciple who had just entered the sect a few years ago was actually going to fight a sect elder. This was simply unheard of and rarely seen throughout the ages. Oh my God, has Xia Ping gone mad? He actually wants to fight 3 Law Phase Realm Elders, and it's 1 against 3. Even if he is arrogant, there is no need to be so arrogant, right? A Qiankuan sect disciple was dumbfounded. He almost thought that this was fake news, but when the Qiankuan sect leader personally confirmed it, he had no choice but to believe it. I heard that junior brother Xia has already advanced to the returning truth realm and condensed his primordial spirit. Oh my God, I remember that he just advanced to the golden core realm not long ago. He advanced to the returning truth realm so quickly and condensed his primordial spirit. Doesn't he have any bottlenecks? Even a flying ship wouldn't be as fast as him. This is a monster. This is how terrifying a disciple of a saint is. Comparing oneself to others is really infuriating. I have already entered the sect for hundreds of years and am only at the true fire realm. I don't even know when I can enter the golden core realm. I might even be trapped for 1,000 years. However, junior brother Xia has advanced to the returning truth realm. Many Qiankuan sect disciples discussed. They were all shocked by Xia Ping's cultivation speed. They had never seen such a monstrous genius. Breaking through was as easy as drinking water. There was no bottleneck at all. Even some personal disciples were speechless. They also felt that they were geniuses, but they didn't think that they were geniuses to such an extent. It had exceeded their imagination. However, even if he condensed his primordial spirit, It's impossible for junior brother Xia to be a match for Elder Ma and the rest. A Qiankuan sect disciple said with certainty, the difference between the law phase realm and the returning truth realm is at least 100 times. A law phase realm cultivator can sweep a group of returning truth realm cultivators. This isn't a joke. It's like the difference between an elephant and an ant. Moreover, Elder Ma and the rest have been fighting for a long time and have lived for over 10,000 years. They can be said to be old monsters, veteran law phase realm cultivators. No matter how monstrous Xia Ping is, he can't be compared to them. He didn't think that Xia Ping would win this battle. He reckoned that Xia Ping would be instantly killed. That might not be the case. Someone retorted, I heard that there's a bet involved in this battle. If junior brother Xia loses, he has to hand over the heaven-connecting token unconditionally. If he wins, the 3 Ma clan elders have to hand over their treasures and go bankrupt. At this moment, the sect leader has already become the middleman. He has collected the heaven-connecting token and the Ma clan elders' wealth. When the result of the battle is out, he will return it to the winner. If junior brother Xia doesn't have absolute confidence, why would he agree to this battle? I feel that junior brother Xia has a high chance of winning. The Ma clan elders are too old. He felt that Xia Ping would win. What a fool's dream. Can the difference in martial Dao realm be made up with arrogant words? No matter how confident junior brother Xia is, the difference is the difference. It can't be changed by one's willpower. I feel that junior brother Xia is too arrogant. Maybe he has been a genius since he was young and is used to being invincible. He often challenges those who are stronger than him. This made him forget that there's a huge gap between the returning truth and law phase realm. It's useless to say all this now. Tomorrow afternoon, when the battle starts, we will know who will win and who will lose. That's right. There's no use in talking. Whether he is a donkey or a horse, we will know once we pull him out. Let's wait and see. No matter who wins this time, junior brother Xia will probably leave his name in history. He can be said to be the strongest genius since the establishment of the Heaven and Earth sect, a peerless monster. I'm really looking forward to the battle tomorrow afternoon. Go and get a seat immediately. Otherwise, the arena will be full. Don't go and fight. It's already full. Many seats have been reserved by the elders and sect leader. There are also many true disciples. We can only watch the live broadcast and can't go to the arena. Chapter 1694. At noon the next day, on the Qiankuan Star dueling platform. This place covered an area of 100,000 miles. It was surrounded by a huge restriction formation that formed a space of its own. Its defense was amazing. Even if a lightning retribution realm expert fought with all his might, he wouldn't be able to break through the formation. At this moment, the spectating area in the surroundings of the arena was filled with a dense expanse of people. All of them were the various elders and elite disciples of the Qiankuan sect, and all of them were important figures of the Qiankuan sect that possessed great authority. They were chatting now. I didn't expect junior brother Xia to dare to challenge Elder Ma and the others. Newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers. And the bet is quite big. If they lose, Elder Ma and the others will go bankrupt. They're really willing to do so. What's there to be unwilling about? Elder Ma and the others will definitely win. That's right. It's a battle between Dharma cultivators and Guizhen cultivators, and it's 3 against 1. If Elder Ma and the others don't win, they might as well kill themselves with a piece of tofu. I guess junior brother Xia also thinks that with his current strength, he isn't suitable to enter the Heaven Secret territory. That's why he used the token as a bet. He hopes to fight with Elder Ma and the others to increase his combat experience. I don't think so. Maybe junior brother Xia thinks he has a high chance of winning. High chance of winning? Are you kidding me? Sorry, I really didn't hear it. To be honest, the difference between the Clarity realm and the Transcendence realm is too big. It's like the river and the sea. How can they be compared? Indeed. No matter how monstrous junior brother Xia is, it's extremely difficult to defeat a Transcendence Realm expert. It's a fool's dream to fight 3 alone and win. Many of the Qianquan sect's elders were discussing. However, the majority of them felt that Xia Ping would lose for sure. But even so, the fact that Xia Ping could advance to the returning Truth Realm so quickly still shocked them. They felt that Xia Ping had only cultivated for a short period of time. After a period of time, most of the elders here probably wouldn't be his match. He would definitely become the pillar of the Qianquan sect in the future. Many elders felt extremely gratified. They're here. Junior brother Xia and the others are here. Suddenly, someone cried out. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 4 figures immediately flew over from the sky. They were Xia Ping, Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho. They immediately landed on the dueling platform, facing each other from several kilometers away. They're all here. At this moment, a figure stood up from the spectator stands, emitting a terrifying aura. He was the sect leader of the Qianquan sect, Zhu Xian, a major character at the peak of the Lightning Tribulation realm. The 2 of you will fight on the dueling platform, and under the witness of the Qianquan sect's ancestor, it will be fair and just. You will sign a contract saying that no one can complain if they lose, and no one is allowed to take revenge afterward. All grudges will be settled in the duel. Otherwise, you will be expelled from the Qianquan sect and your divine ability will be crippled. Do the 4 of you have any objections? No. Xia Ping and the others shook their heads. That's good. A barrier has been set up on the dueling platform, sealing off the void. Even a lightning tribulation eminence can't destroy it. You can use your divine abilities here. You don't have to worry about destroying the dueling platform. However, you are not allowed to kill. If there are no objections, the duel will begin immediately. Sect Master Zhu Xian formed a seal with his hands. With a boom, the entire dueling platform was enveloped by an energy shield, forming a crystal wall. It was like a transparent wall, sealing off the void and forming an independent space that couldn't affect the outside world. Junior brother Xia, I didn't expect you to really dare to come and agree to this bet. Don't worry, if I enter the heaven-accessing secret realm and obtain any treasures, I can share a few with you. Ma Guowei revealed a generous look, clearly thinking that the 3 of them would definitely win. His tone was filled with the tone of a victor, high and mighty, insufferably arrogant. There's no need to split the treasures. I'm just afraid that you 3 old men will lose the duel and go bankrupt. It wouldn't be good if you want to commit suicide. If you admit defeat now, you will only lose half of the bet. What do you think? Xia Ping gave his suggestion. Brat, aren't you too arrogant? Ma Guowei sneered. You haven't fought with a powerful figure in the Transcendence realm, so you don't know how terrifying they are. Today, there's no need for the other 2 to fight. I alone am enough to easily suppress you. He wanted to defeat Xia Ping by himself to shut the mouths of the crowd, lest other brothers say that they were ganging up on Xia Ping. It would be bad for their reputation. The Transcendence realm is nothing. I've even killed a powerful figure in the Thunder Retribution realm. Xia Ping said seriously. Humph, boasting shamelessly and stubbornly. In that case, I'll let you see the horror of a powerful figure in the Transcendence realm. It's not something a brat like you can compete with. Ma Guowei snorted coldly, not believing Xia Ping's words at all. He was just a junior. Even if he made rapid progress, he was still in the restoring realm after all. It was nonsense to want to kill a powerful figure in the Thunder Retribution realm with such a cultivation. Boom! In an instant, he immediately activated some kind of secret technique, and an extremely powerful thunder aura surged from the depths of his mind. This thunder aura quickly gathered and formed a heaven and earth Dharma power. The Dharma form of heaven and earth was a Kueyak. Its body was filled with the terrifying power of thunder, crackling and rattling, shaking the surrounding void. Suddenly, dark clouds covered the sky, as if the area within 1,000 miles had turned into a domain of thunder. It's out. This is Junior Brother Mogwai's Kuei Ox Dharma power. It has mastered the power of thunder and is extremely terrifying. I didn't expect Junior Brother Mogwai to be so ruthless. He didn't give Junior Brother Xia a chance at all and wanted to use all his strength to finish him off instantly. An elder sighed. Not bad. Xia Ping nodded. He could sense the powerful thunder energy on Mogwai, especially the condensed Kuei Ox Dharma power. It contained the power of laws and was extremely powerful. Even though he had seen many powerful figures in the Transcendence realm, Mogwai was still one of the top. Of course, it was incomparable to the power of thunder that he had mastered. After all, he had devoured the power of the thunder retribution, which belonged to the thunder of heaven and earth. It was many times more terrifying than ordinary thunder. It was different in nature. Not bad? Junior, you are too arrogant. I am your senior, a powerful figure who has condensed a heaven and earth dharma power. You think you are just a bit good? I want to see what capabilities you have to dare to say such big words. Hearing this, Mawagwa was enraged. This brat was obviously looking down on him. How could such words be said by a junior? He was clearly putting himself in a high and mighty position, guiding him like a master. As an elder of the Qiankuan sect and a powerful figure in the Transcendence realm, how could he endure such humiliation? Kill! Chapter 1695. Junior Brother Mogwai is angry. Some elders who were familiar with Mogwai could tell that he was furious. He seemed to have lost his mind. Rumble instantly, a Kuei ox stepped out from the air. Its body was engraved with densely packed lightning runes. Thousands of bolts of lightning wrapped around its body, as if it was the ruler of lightning. Its eyes were bloodshot and it charged forward. It was like Gonggong who had crashed into Mount Buzhou, creating a terrifying force that tore apart the ground and shattered the space. Everyone present could sense the ferocity of this Kuei Ox Dharma form. It was earth-shattering and contained the power of destruction. It was as if all matter would be torn apart and completely shattered by this power of thunder. Oh no, Junior Brother Xia is in danger. Sect leader, we have to save him in time to prevent Junior Brother Ma from going crazy and accidentally killing Junior Brother Xia. Many elders immediately stood up, their expressions solemn. They felt that the situation was serious and that they had to stop this battle. Otherwise, if they were careless, Xia Ping might be smashed to death on the arena. If that really happened, it would be a great misfortune for the Heaven and Earth faction. Sect leader Zhu Xian nodded. He was already fully prepared and could save Xia Ping's life at any time. Weak, you are simply too weak. However, Xia Ping shook his head. To ordinary cultivators, this Kuei Ox Dharma form was extremely terrifying. It controlled the power of lightning and was invincible. Its ferocious might was matchless. But in his eyes, the Kuei Ox was just an empty diagram. It was full of flaws and didn't have the spirit to display the might of the ancient divine beast Kuei Ox. He didn't dodge at all. He was upright like a great sun in the sky. He took a step forward and punched the void. With a shake and an explosion. At this moment, Xia Ping's spiritual power surged out. His 9 mind spaces trembled and instantly gathered on his fist, forming a terrifying force. It was as if a divine beast had descended. The fist transformed into an imperial seal. It was like the seal of a great emperor as it landed on the Kuei Ox Dharma form. Dong! A tremendous force exploded in an instant, as if a star had exploded. The Kuei Ox Dharma idol instantly exploded into pieces, and all the power of thunder was obliterated, turning into nothingness. A terrifying explosion rang out from the void, transmitted to the spectator stands on the dueling platform. The sound waves vibrated and condensed into a substance, producing a terrifying sound-killing power. One by one, the weaker cultivators were immediately shaken to the point where they bled from their 7 orifices and their lungs were injured. Even the spectator seats had slight cracks and cracking sound. I'm flying. What's going on? Why am I flying? I can't control myself at all. Ma Guowei was completely dumbfounded. Just now, he had been so pleased with himself that he had forgotten his place, fantasizing about how he would send Xia Ping flying in an instant and teach this junior brother Xia a lesson that he would never forget, showing off the power of a Dharma adept. But in the next second, the heaven and earth Dharma idol that he had condensed was shattered into pieces and turned into a ball of vital qi. Even his body was hit and he was punched. Immediately, his entire body was blasted away like a shooting star. But now, Ma Guowei's mind was in a blank state. He had lost all consciousness. It was as if he had a concussion. Even if he wanted to resist, he couldn't. Dong! Ma Guowei let out a shrill scream. His body flew thousands of miles and finally smashed into the barrier of the boundary. There was a loud clang, and the barrier of the boundary kept shaking, but it was not broken. But this tyrannical force bombarded his body, and his body was destroyed thousands of times. Suddenly, half of his body was crippled, and blood spurted out as if it was free, dyeing the ground red. With a thud, he slid down the barrier and finally fell to the ground, unconscious. If an ordinary person had suffered such an injury, they would have died long ago. But Ma Guowei was a Dharma adept, and his recovery ability was extremely strong. He would not die for the time being, but he was seriously injured. Damn, what's going on? The Kuei Nyo Dharma power was destroyed with one punch. Seeing this scene, Ma Guowei was punched to the point where it was unknown whether he was dead or alive, and he was seriously injured on the spot. Many of the spectators in the spectator seats, including the clan leader and many elders, could not help but stand up. They were completely boiling, and their emotions could not help but lose control. Everyone knew that Ma Guowei was a veteran Dharma adept, especially since he had condensed the Kuei Nyo Dharma power and could control the power of thunder. His magical powers were endless, and his combat ability was tyrannical. Even among the Dharma adepts, he was an extremely strong expert. But what kind of person was Xia Ping? He was a Qiankuan sect disciple who had entered for a few years, and his hair was not even fully grown yet. His realm was also at the returning nature realm, and he had just condensed his primordial spirit. But it was such a person who destroyed Ma Guowei's Kuei Nyo Dharma power with one punch. How could they not be shocked, and how could they not lose control of their emotions? No wonder he dared to challenge 3 elders of the Ma family alone, using the sky-piercing token as the wager. This strength is shocking. Clan leader Zhu Xian could not help but be shocked. He had lived for tens of thousands of years, and he could be considered to be very knowledgeable. He had seen all kinds of monsters, but he had never seen someone like Xia Ping. He was unique, and he stood out from the crowd. This is too much. A returning nature realm cultivator destroyed a Dharma adept with one punch. Is this reasonable? Is there any justice in this world? Who is the real expert? The group of Qiankuan sect elders were dumbfounded, and they were shocked. Xia Ping, how dare you treat my elder brother like this? Die. Seeing Ma Guowei lying on the ground like a pile of mud, Ma Xingping and Ma Mingho were enraged. Endless anger surged in their hearts, and they were extremely violent. The 3 brothers were like brothers, and they lived and died together. But now, one of them was beaten to the point where it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. One could imagine the anger in their hearts, and they even had the intention to kill. What's wrong? Didn't you want to fight one-on-one? Now you want to join forces? Xia Ping said. Fight your sister's husband, I will beat you up. Ma Xingping was furious. At this time, what was the point of fighting one-on-one? They wanted to join forces and beat this junior to death. Boom. He used a secret technique, and a terrifying ball of yuan qi rushed out of his mind, quickly condensing into a pangolin. Its whole body emitted an earthy yellow air current, and its body was densely covered with earth element runes. Pieces of ferocious scales appeared on its surface, and it was as if it was a ferocious beast hiding in the depths of the earth, emitting a terrifying killing intent. With a whoosh, Ma Xingping's will moved, and the pangolin immediately burrowed into the earth, becoming invisible. Only a series of trembling sounds could be heard from the depths of the earth. Kill! Ma Mingho didn't waste any words, and with an angry shout, a tyrannical Dharma idol appeared from his body. It was a blue sea snake with 9 heads. This was a 9-headed snake. Every head was extremely ferocious, emitting a ferocious aura. It was as if it was a ferocious beast from the prehistoric era, and one could feel its tyrannical power and ruthlessness. Whoosh! Chapter 1696. Huh! Xia Ping squinted his eyes. His consciousness was strong, and he could sense that there was a yellow current moving quickly beneath the ground. It seemed to be looking for a chance to deal a fatal blow to him. He didn't even look and used the divine elephant breathing technique. Every inch of his body was activated and filled with power. He stomped on the ground like a divine elephant. Dong! It was just one attack, but with his body as the center, the area within 10,000 miles shook horribly. Millions of vibrations contained terrifying destructive power. The sound waves spread out again and again. Countless cracks appeared on the ground, densely packed like a spider web. It was a shocking scene. The pangolin, which had been hiding underground, was caught off guard and was immediately hit. Its huge body was sent flying, and its Yuan Shen almost collapsed. Because the Dharma was heavily injured, Ma Xingping screamed in pain. His Yuan Shen was injured, and he was bleeding from his orifices. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. The 9-headed snake also rushed over. Its body was enormous, and as it flew through the air, it was like a huge mountain. Demons danced about chaotically, and its 9 heads simultaneously released world-shaking roars, wanting to blast Xia Ping to death in an instant. Get down here! Xia Ping stepped out and grabbed at the air. Immediately, the yin and yang energies of heaven and earth gathered, forming a huge black and white palm. There seemed to be the yin and yang 8 trigrams spinning in the center of the palm. Martial arts technique, yin-yang tablet breaking palm. The 9-headed snake was caught off guard and the huge palm grabbed it. It was like a giant grabbing a small snake. Terrifying power vibrated. Dong! In the next second, the giant palm squeezed gently, and the 9 heads instantly exploded into pieces. Even the entire body was squeezed into a ball of dregs, as if it was kneading dough. Such power! In the spectators' stands, many elders saw this scene and their hearts trembled. This power was simply way too formidable. It was practically boundless. With just a gentle slap, the 2 heaven and earth Dharma figures were smashed apart like tofu. Still not admitting defeat? Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked down at Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho, who were vomiting blood on the ground. Ma Guowei seemed to have regained consciousness. At the same time, he took some healing pills and recovered some of his spiritual energy. He wasn't as weak as before. Admit defeat? You're just a junior at the returning true realm. You want us to admit defeat? Dream on. Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho roared, refusing to admit defeat. In fact, they also wanted to admit defeat, but this duel was related to a bet. If they admitted defeat, they would lose all their wealth. How could they dare to admit defeat? Once they surrendered, they would immediately become paupers. No matter what, they had to hold on. 2 brothers, lend me a hand and display the Kuei Ox through heaven diagram. Ma Guowei bellowed. He immediately took out a supreme-grade spirit artifact from his body, the Kuei Nyo heavenly diagram. This was a transcendent artifact that he had obtained from some ancient ruins. It was extremely powerful, and vaguely had the potential to become a saint artifact. All right. Ma Xingping and Ma Mingho looked at each other. Right now, their only chance of survival was to assist Ma Guowei and activate the Kuei Nyo heavenly diagram. Only then could they suppress this brat. In an instant, they formed seals with their hands. As supreme transcendence realm cultivators, they channeled their boundless magic power into the diagram. The huge diagram immediately rose up and concealed itself in the void. Immediately, a huge array rose up, covering 1,000 miles. Every rune of the array was like a mark of the great Tao. It faintly communicated with the power of heaven and earth, absorbing the energy of the lightning calamity in the depths of the void. What's going on? It actually devoured the energy of the lightning calamity? How did it do that? The many Qiankuan sect elders were all shocked. They saw the transcendent artifact rising up and instantly communicating with a lightning dimension space, absorbing the energy of the lightning calamity. Although the lightning calamity was the most ordinary, it was still a power that could destroy the world. It wasn't something that ordinary lightning could compare to. That transcendent artifact is very unusual. I'm afraid it was refined by a saint. It has the potential to become a saint artifact. Sect leader Zhu Xian's eyes shone brightly. He had seen through the mystical aspects of that transcendent artifact. Boom! In the depths of the void, endless energy of the lightning calamity gathered, condensing into a kuei the size of a mountain. This kuei was clearly different from the previous one. It was more than 1,000 times more terrifying. It stood in the void, indomitable. Its pair of purple horns devoured the power of the lightning calamity. Thousands of bolts of the lightning calamity transformed into lightning dragons that coiled around it. It was as if the god of thunder had descended and ruled the world. Haha, Xia Ping, I admit that your strength is beyond imagination. You can challenge those of a higher level than you. Ordinary transcendence realm cultivators are no match for you. However, in front of my kuei sky-reaching diagram, you can't even withstand a single blow. Its power is something that you will never be able to imagine. Come, have a taste of the power of my kuei sky-reaching diagram. Ma Guowei laughed loudly, feeling very satisfied. He felt that he had almost reached the peak of the transcendence realm. He could vaguely feel a trace of the power of the lightning calamity. It's over. Junior Xia will definitely lose this time. The power of the kuei sky-reaching diagram is too strong. Coupled with the activation of 3 transcendence realm cultivators, its power is endless. Gui Zhen won't be able to withstand it. Unless Junior Xia has a saint artifact, his chances of survival are slim. Looks like the outcome has been decided. Many of the elders shook their heads. In reality, Xia Ping was already strong enough. However, it was a pity that he had only trained for a short period of time. His foundation was still not strong enough. He did not have a strong foundation like the third elder of the Ma family, who could even take out an ultimate spiritual weapon. Kill! Ma Guowei shouted and activated the kuei sky-reaching diagram. The divine kuei sky-reaching diagram roared and sprinted. It exploded with thousands of bolts of purple lightning calamity and struck down from the void. Each bolt of lightning was as thick as a bucket. As they struck down, it was as if a lightning calamity was undergoing a tribulation. Some of the lightning calamity saw this scene and felt a faint sense of fear. The entire dueling ground was filled with terrifying destructive energy. Lightning flashed and the void trembled. If an ordinary cultivator entered, they would be turned into ashes in an instant. Too weak. Xia Ping shook his head. He stood where he was and gathered the power of his primordial soul to communicate with the fire dimension. Dong! In an instant, a black hole with a diameter of 3 meters tore open above his head. From the depths of the black hole came a terrifying flame energy that seemed to have the power to kill. Many of the elders felt their hearts palpitate. Their divine senses penetrated through the black hole and immediately sensed that it was a boundless dimension world. It was even bigger than dozens of star fields. In this fire dimension world, there seemed to be many flame creatures living. There were lava giants, immortal fire birds, fire gods, fire dragons, and so on. Each of them was earth-shattering and emitted a terrifying aura. What? This is the fire dimension. He actually communicated with the fire dimension and opened a dimensional passage. Impossible. How could a mere Guasian do such a thing? Chapter 1697. F***K. How did he do it? The Qianquan sect's elders were dumbfounded. They simply didn't dare to believe it. They knew that returning Truth Realm cultivators condensed their primordial spirits and could communicate with the dimensional world and absorb dimensional energy. However, they could only open up a hair-sized crack and absorb weak energy. Not to mention returning Truth Realm cultivators, even Transcendence Realm cultivators like them could only open up a passageway the size of a marble. The more powerful ones could only open up a passageway the size of a soccer ball. But what was going on with this kid? He actually directly tore open a 3-meter-wide passageway in the dimensional world and drew upon the power of the fire dimension to create a world-destroying might. How terrifying was the power of his primordial spirit to be able to do such a thing? Was he still human? Oh my God, what is going on? Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho were all dumbfounded. They had never experienced such a thing before. In an instant, boundless fire energy surged out from the dimensional passageway, condensing into a corporeal form. It condensed into a flame giant that was tens of thousands of feet tall. Its entire body was covered in flame rune armor, and it held a giant hammer. The flame giant roared violently. The moment it walked out of the dimensional passageway, it smashed its hammer towards Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho. Boom! The might of this hammer was simply world-shaking. It gathered a large amount of fire energy and turned it into a sea of flames. It instantly destroyed the Kuei Heavenly Path diagram and burned everything. Before the Kuei ox could even display its might, its entire body was smashed into a ball of fragments. Over 10,000 streaks of lightning energy were shaken into a state of powder. The dueling platform trembled fiercely, and the surrounding energy barrier was also making clanging sounds. PFFF. Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho couldn't withstand such a backlash. They were all sent flying and coughed out a mouthful of blood in midair. Finally, they smashed into the ground, creating 3 huge craters. Boom! Xia Ping waved his hand and the fire-dimensional passageway was immediately closed. In the depths of the passageway, there were countless flame creatures roaring in a frenzy, seemingly unwilling to accept this outcome. They all wanted to escape to this world from the other side of the passageway. Unfortunately, the passageway was closed. They had no choice but to give up. And because the flames didn't have the replenishment of the fire-dimensional energy, they rapidly dissipated. Who? When the many Qianquan sect elders saw this situation, they immediately heaved a sigh of relief. If these fire-dimensional creatures were to escape, the entire region would probably be incinerated. All lives would be plunged into misery and suffering. It would be like the energy of an entire world pouring down. At the same time, they were also secretly shocked. The fact that Xia Ping was able to close the dimensional passageway so easily was enough to prove that Xia Ping was not only able to open dimensional passageways, but also able to control them freely. This ability was even more incredible. It was a level higher than opening a dimensional passage. Elder Ma, you have lost. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back as he calmly looked at Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping and Ma Mingho. No, I didn't lose. I, Ma Guowei, am an elder of the Heaven and Earth sect, a mighty cultivator of the Transcendence realm. I have lived for thousands of years and experienced more than 108,000 battles. How could I lose? How could I lose to a junior of the returning nature realm like you? Ma Guowei roared and refused to admit defeat. He was extremely unwilling. Illusion, this must be an illusion. Junior, you must have used an illusion technique for this to happen. Junior, you won't be able to scare me. When this old man breaks this illusion, you will definitely lose. Ma Xingping went completely crazy. He felt that this must be a profound illusion technique, which was why their 5 senses were blinded. Such an unimaginable and logical thing happened. PFFF. Ma Mingho couldn't speak. He coughed out another mouthful of blood, and his breathing was extremely weak. Enough, Ma Guowei. At this moment, sect leader Zhu Xian stood up. Look at how miserable you all are now. You refuse to admit defeat. What a scandal! Do you all still have the bearing of an elder? You all have lost this battle. There's no doubt about it, and nothing can change it. If this wasn't a duel but a life and death battle, you all would have been killed by junior brother Xia dozens of times. Now that you all are still alive, you should be thankful that junior brother Xia showed mercy. I hereby announce that junior brother Xia is the winner of this battle. He could see that Ma Mingho and the others no longer had the strength to fight. He immediately announced the result. If they continued to fight, Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho would definitely die. No, I can't accept this, I can't accept this. I, Ma Guowei, have cultivated for thousands of years, rising up from nothing. I went through untold hardships to become a Dharma idol. Now I'm actually defeated by a little brat. Is there still justice in this world? Ma Guowei raised his head and roared. Winner takes all. That's justice. Age doesn't necessarily mean strength. Don't you all understand this? Zhu Xian shook his head. He understood Ma Guowei's mentality. Looking at Xia Ping, he felt that he had lived all his life for nothing. Comparing oneself to others was really infuriating. I can't accept this. I, Ma Xingping, worked hard to accumulate treasures for thousands of years, and now I've lost them all. Not even a single hair is left. I can't accept this. Hearing this, Ma Xingping knew that he had really lost. There was no turning back. But when he thought of the bet this time, he realized that he had bet all his wealth. Now that he had lost the battle, he had lost all his wealth and nothing was left. When he thought of this, he felt like a knife was twisting in his heart. With a pu sound, he actually coughed out a mouthful of blood and directly fainted on the ground. Seeing this, sect leader Zhu Xian waved his hand and immediately brought Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho away for treatment. After all, they were Qiankuan sect's elders, law phase realm experts. They were important forces of the Qiankuan sect and couldn't die here. When the spectators saw this scene, they all shook their heads. Sai, Elder Ma and the others can be considered strong, but junior brother Xia is even more monstrous. It's not an injustice that he lost. Gambling is harmful. Looking at Elder Ma and the others, we know how harmful gambling is. Thousands of years of accumulation, and now it's gone in a single night. I've lost everything. How lamentable. At least Elder Ma and the others are law phase realm experts. They still have a chance to make a comeback. I have a deep understanding of gambling. Gambling harms both oneself and others. Yesterday, before I left, my stomach was churning. At that time, I gambled that gambling was just a fart. In the end, I lost completely. Everyone discussed and felt pity for Elder Ma and the others. They could have challenged anyone, but they actually dared to challenge Xia Ping. This was purely courting death. So-called monstrous geniuses were those who were unreasonable and surpassed common sense. No matter how unwilling they were, the result was the result. They couldn't change it. Chapter 1698. A day later, the news of Xia Ping defeating the Transcendence Realm Elders spread throughout the Qiankuan sect. It swept through the 6 major starfields like a hurricane and caught the attention of countless people. Everyone was completely shocked by this fact. Unbelievable! The Dark North Saint's eldest disciple, Xia Ping, defeated the Transcendence Realm Elders, and won against 3. You must be joking. I remember that he just joined the Qiankuan sect not long ago. I can't believe he has grown so much. Too fast. His cultivation speed is too fast. It's scary. Is this the aptitude of a saint's disciple? He's too monstrous. Doesn't he have any bottlenecks? Did he go easy on them? How could he go easy on them? I heard that this duel is related to a bet. If they lose, the 3 Transcendence Realm Elders will have to hand over all their wealth. This is a bet that will cost them their entire family fortune. After the 3 Elders lost, they became penniless. Their thousands of years of accumulation were destroyed. When they found out about this, they were so angry that they vomited 3 liters of blood. They haven't woken up yet. It seems that Xia Ping is indeed a monstrous genius of our Qiankuan sect. As expected of a saint's disciple, the number 1 saint seed in the future. Defeating a Transcendence Realm Elder at the Purity Returning Realm is unheard of. Previously, there was a guy called Wu Wudi who caused an uproar in the universe. He was extremely vicious and killed people like flies. I wonder how he compares to senior brother Xia? I'm not sure, but Wu Wudi is ferocious, while senior brother Xia is still inexperienced. I'm afraid he's still at a disadvantage. Haha, how can that Wu Wudi be compared to senior brother Xia? Wu Wudi has become a street rat that everyone wants to beat up. He doesn't dare to show his face at all. The path to sainthood is difficult, but senior brother Xia is different. He is a disciple of our Qiankuan sect and has the protection of the Dark North Saint. If there are no accidents, he has a high chance of becoming a saint. Indeed, becoming a saint is the most important thing. So what if he's at the martial Dao realm? If he doesn't become a saint, he'll just be an ant. In time, senior brother Xia will be able to surpass that so-called Wu Wudi with ease. That brat will be left in the dust, and will only be left to eat dust. The Qiankuan sect disciples discussed animatedly. They were extremely excited. That was because the gap between them and Xia Ping was just too great. He was like a god, and even if they wanted to be jealous, they couldn't. They weren't on the same level. Therefore, they only had respect for Xia Ping. They admired him and prostrated themselves before him. After all, if Xia Ping grew up and even became a saint, it would be of great benefit to them as well. It would make the Heaven and Earth sect even more powerful and prosperous. Staying under the tree that was the Heaven and Earth sect, they would naturally feel more comfortable and obtain endless benefits. Some of the disciples who entered the Qiankuan sect at the same time as Xia Ping, especially the disciples who were in the top 10, were all speechless. They originally wanted to catch up to Xia Ping and take revenge for the humiliation they suffered back then. Who would have thought that Xia Ping would leave them in the dust and not give them a chance to catch up? At this moment, their hearts were also very complicated, as if a bottle of 5 flavors had been overturned. There were all kinds of ups and downs. It wasn't just the Qiankuan sect's disciples who knew about this. The internet had no borders. In this era, once any news appeared, it was impossible to hide it. It would spread out at superluminal speed. In just a day, it had spread throughout the Eastern Universe and was known by all the major sects and families in the Eastern Universe. Even some of the sects and forces in the Northern Universe, Southern Universe, and Western Universe had heard about this. After all, they were competitors with the Eastern Universe and had once had enmity with each other. Naturally, they would pay attention to all kinds of information from the Eastern Universe. Looks like a peerless genius has appeared in the Eastern Universe's Qiankuan sect. Defeating a Dharma adept with a pure essence, and 1 against 3 at that, showing an overwhelming advantage. This is really rare. It's definitely not an exaggeration to say that this kid is a peerless genius. Is there something fishy going on? A pure essence defeating a Dharma adept, and a veteran elder at that? This is too exaggerated. There's already a video on the internet. You can go take a look. What you see is real. In my opinion, there's no possibility of it being fake. Moreover, he's barehanded and didn't use any treasures. What? He didn't even use any treasures? Is this a joke? I thought he used a divine implement, so it's not impossible for him to defeat a Dharma adept. Now, he defeated a Dharma adept with his bare hands. This is a little terrifying. There are countless geniuses in the universe, so this kind of thing is not difficult to understand. Let's not talk about the endless peerless geniuses in the central universe, which far surpasses our 4 major universes. Take the peerless genius Wu Wuti, for example. I believe everyone has seen his battles and heard of his achievements. Killing a lightning tribulation as a golden core is even more shocking. Of course, even if he didn't rely on his own battle power and had the help of treasures, it's enough to prove how terrifying Wu Wuti is. He's definitely an invincible figure in the world. Compared to that, Xia Ping's appearance is not difficult to accept. In fact, I think it's normal. Normal my ass. Such a genius appearing in the Eastern Universe's Qiankuan sect is not a good thing for the Southern Universe, the Northern Universe, and the Western Universe. Who knows, there might be another saint in the Eastern Universe in the future. I heard that Xia Ping is the personal disciple of Dark North Old Devil. What? Is there such a thing? He's actually the personal disciple of Dark North Old Devil? Then it's not surprising that he has such strength. What do you mean by not surprising? He's even more dangerous now. If he follows Dark North Saint, won't he be going to heaven? We must think of a way to get rid of this Xia Ping. Otherwise, it will definitely cause a great disaster in the future. This time, he will also enter the heaven-reaching secret realm. That place is filled with danger. Perhaps we can use this opportunity to get rid of this scourge of the Eastern Universe in advance. Indeed, this is a great opportunity to openly destroy an enemy with potential. Many of the big shots of the forces were discussing this matter. Their threat level to Xia Ping immediately increased by several levels, especially those who had enmity with the Eastern Universe and the Qiankuan sect. Their killing intent rose, and they wanted to get rid of Xia Ping. They didn't want to see another figure comparable to Dark North Saint appear in the Qiankuan sect. At this moment, on the other side, on a certain mysterious planet, it was the place where the Mad Slaughter Saint was located, the secret stronghold. He also heard the news, and his face was gloomy. I didn't expect that little bastard to grow to such a height in just a few years of seclusion. If I continue to let him go, I'm afraid he will become another Dark North Saint. That would be terrible. I definitely won't allow this to happen. If necessary, I should do it myself. The Mad Slaughter Saint's face was extremely gloomy. Previously, he had sent people to kill Xia Ping, but unfortunately, they failed. After that, he went into seclusion for a period of time. He didn't expect that after he came out of seclusion, in just a few short years, Xia Ping would be able to defeat a Dharma plane expert. This shocked him, and at the same time, he was filled with jealousy and hatred. Not only did Dark North Saint surpass him in strength, but even his disciple was about to surpass him as well. He definitely wouldn't let this happen. Chapter 1699. Yan Huang Peak. At this moment, Xia Ping ignored the noise of the outside world and returned to Yan Huang Peak, followed by Zhu Xian. Junior brother Xia, these are all the treasures of Elder Ma and the others. Although some are missing, most of them are here. Be careful. Sect Master Zhu Xian took out a spatial ring, which contained all the treasures of the 3 Ma elders. Thank you, head. Xia Ping nodded and scanned it with his divine sense. He sensed that the space ring was full of treasures, elixirs, spiritual herbs, ores, materials, spirit stones, magic treasures, and so on. Even the towering sky diagram of one-legged ox was there. The value of these treasures added up was enough to tempt any mighty figure in the Thunder Retribution realm. By the way, do you know when the heaven-accessing secret land will open this time? Zhu Xian asked. I don't know. Please tell me. Xia Ping looked at Zhu Xian. Zhu Xian said in a low voice, the heaven-accessing secret land will open in about a week. This time, there are many masters entering the heaven-accessing secret land, millions of people, and even mighty figures in the Thunder Retribution realm may enter. So you must be very careful. Don't be targeted by other masters, or you will be in danger. He warned Xia Ping about the danger of entering the heaven-accessing secret land. Once inside, Not only the environment was full of danger, but also the people who entered the heaven-accessing secret land were enemies, who might be killed and robbed. Moreover, it was not only the human tribe who entered the heaven-accessing secret land, but also the mighty figures of countless races in the universe. These mighty figures and human beings hated each other more or less. It was not impossible for them to kill each other when they met. Head, can only one person enter with a sky-reaching token? Can't you bring others in? Xiaoping asked curiously. He felt that if someone entered with a sky-reaching token and had a space magic treasure, they could smuggle a lot of people in. Of course not. Zhu Xian also saw through Xiaoping's thoughts. He smiled slightly and said, "It's not that no one has thought about this. Someone once wanted to use a space magic treasure to bring a group of people in. But the problem is that the heaven-accessing secret area is a very unique secret area with its own rules of heaven and earth. The reason why you can enter it is that you have the treasure of the heaven-accessing token. If you carry the aura of the token, you will be regarded as a native creature of the heaven-accessing secret area. Therefore, if someone without a token enters the heaven-accessing secret land, he will be regarded as an outsider. Thunder tribulation will strike the intruder to death, just like a human body cleaning the germs in its body." He said that the space magic treasure could take people in, but the problem was that once these people came out of the space magic treasure and appeared in the heaven-accessing secret area, they would immediately be killed by the thunder punishment and could not survive. Of course, it was not a problem to stay in the spatial magic treasure, but if they could not come out, then it would be useless to bring it in, so no one would do such a useless thing. Sect leader, why do so many people want to enter the heaven-accessing place? What treasures are there in this place? Xiaoping was extremely curious about this, because it was not as if Elder Ma and the others did not know his background, but they still dared to offend him, wanting to obtain the heavenly token from him. It could be imagined that they believed that the opportunity to enter the heaven-accessing secret area was much greater than the danger of offending him. Therefore, even if they did offend him, they did not care, as long as they could achieve their goal. This question is very simple. Sect leader Zhu Xian laughed and said, "Because there is a type of spirit fruit growing in the heaven-accessing secret area, it is called the longevity fruit. As the name implies, as long as one can consume this type of spirit fruit, they will immediately increase their lifespan by 10,000 years. Although this kind of spirit fruit could only be consumed 3 times in a lifetime, increasing one's lifespan by 30,000 years, one could imagine how precious this kind of spirit fruit was, causing one to drool. Especially some of the old monsters in the Thunder Tribulation realm, their lifespans are almost up. If they can increase their lifespan by 30,000 years out of thin air, it will greatly increase their chances of breaking through to the Saint realm. Longevity fruit increase lifespan? Hearing these words, Xiaoping suddenly understood. No wonder Elder Ma and the others were so crazy. It turned out that their lifespans were almost up. That was why they did not hesitate to enter the heaven-accessing secret area to search for the opportunity to obtain the longevity fruit. To be honest, although many experts in the universe had a long lifespan, there was still a limit. For example, a Violet Palace realm cultivator could live for 1,000 years, a Fulfillment realm cultivator could live for 2,000 years, a Divine Power realm cultivator could live for 3,000 years, a Treasure Refining realm cultivator could live for 5,000 years, a True Fire realm cultivator could live for 7,000 years, and a Golden Core realm cultivator could live for 10,000 years. Returning Nature realm cultivators could live for 30,000 years, Transcendence realm cultivators could live for 50,000 years, and Thunder Tribulation realm experts could live for at least 100,000 years as long as they didn't die under the Heaven Tribulation. Of course, this was only the lifespan of the human clan experts. Some of the long-lived races in the universe had a lifespan that was several times longer than the human clan experts at the same realm. Some of the Thunder Tribulation realm demons could even live for 1,000,000 years. But even so, before the countless races in the universe became saints, their lifespans were limited. The longevity fruit was also an incredible treasure to them. Xiaoping felt that his lifespan was also extremely long, even longer than ordinary divine beasts. His vitality was tyrannical, and even though he was only at the true returning realm, he could at least live for millions of years. If the Hell Golden Crow bloodline in his body advanced a step further, it would be easy for him to live for tens of millions of years, or even hundreds of millions of years. Longevity fruit, good stuff. Xiaoping's heart palpitated with excitement. To be honest, with his current strength and cultivation progress, the longevity fruit was not of much use to him, but to the people around him, especially his parents, the longevity fruit was an incredible treasure. If he could obtain the longevity fruit, it would definitely increase his parents' lifespans by a large amount. Although he knew that as long as he didn't become a saint, he would still die. The problem was that his parents would die a little later and live a little longer, so there was nothing wrong with that. Junior brother Xia, if you obtain the longevity fruit in the heaven-accessing secret realm, you can sell some to me if you have any extra. I will definitely give you a satisfactory price. Sect leader Zhu Xian said. Of course. Xiaoping nodded. Sect leader Zhu Xian did not think much of it, because he was just casually mentioning it. After all, obtaining the longevity fruit in the heaven-accessing secret realm was not a simple matter. Furthermore, even if he obtained the longevity fruit, there might not be many of them, and the other party might not be willing to sell them. Sect leader, how do we enter the heaven-accessing secret realm? Xiaoping asked. Very simple. Sect leader Zhu Xian said. 7 days later, this Tong Tian token will naturally have instructions. At that time, it will directly open a spatial tunnel and teleport you to the heaven-accessing secret realm. To be honest, the Tong Tian token itself was also a rare treasure. Chapter 1700. After chatting for a while, sect leader Zhu Xian told Xiaoping in detail some information about the heaven-accessing secret area. Then he quickly left Yan Huang Peak because he was busy with official business. Originally, Xiaoping thought that there might be people from the Qiankuan sect who could travel together. However, because the Heavenly Ascension medallions were too hard to obtain, there were only slightly more than 1 million of them scattered all over the universe. In the Qiankuan sect, only Xiaoping could get a sky-reaching token this time, so he had to go to the heaven-accessing place alone. But it was not necessarily a bad thing. After all, he had many secrets on him, and he didn't want anyone else from the Qiankuan sect to follow him. Master, don't eat the longevity fruit immediately after obtaining it. At this time, the green ox's voice sounded out, give me the longevity fruit, and with the help of other spirit medicines, you can refine a top-grade longevity pill. The medicinal strength will be greatly increased, and one longevity pill will be able to increase your lifespan by 33,333 years. If each person can consume 3 longevity pills, they will gain 100,000 years of lifespan. This is equivalent to the lifespan of a lightning tribulation realm powerhouse, so don't waste it. Is there such a thing? Don't worry, if I get it, I won't eat it immediately. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He did not expect that the longevity pill he refined would actually increase its medicinal efficacy by more than 3 times. As expected of an alchemy technique, the effects were very powerful, and it was a supreme method to become rich. If he ate the longevity fruit on the spot, it would be like a cow chewing on a peony. It would be a huge waste. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. If an ordinary person had a lifespan of 100,000 years, even a pig would be able to cultivate to become a spirit. One could imagine how precious the longevity pill was. If a thunder tribulation eminence consumed it, it would be equivalent to living another life. Master. At this moment, a servant came over. There's someone outside looking for Master. He seems to be a fatty, his name is Feng Hatong. Feng Hatong? Let him in. Xiaoping said. A few minutes later, Feng Hatong walked in from outside. After not seeing him for a while, he seemed to have grown fatter. He was round like a ball. However, his body seemed to contain an extremely strong magical power. It was obvious that his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds during this period of time, and he had benefited greatly. Big brother. Seeing Xiaoping, Feng Hatong immediately jogged over with a fawning look on his face. Congratulations, big brother, for defeating Elder Ma and the others. You've become accomplished in both literature and martial arts. You've unified the world and are invincible. He was very skilled at bootlicking. You're too kind. Actually, other than being handsome, I'm just a useless person, Xiaoping said modestly. Feng Hatong was immediately filled with admiration and respect. When it came to shamelessness, he couldn't even catch up to Xiaoping. By the way, why are you here? Xiaoping asked. Big brother, this is the exact situation. Feng Hatong immediately got down to business. Didn't we establish a force in the Sky Realm before? It's called the Flat Sky Sect, right? Right now, many brothers of the Pingtian sect are contacting me through the virtual network. They want to leave the cloud world and follow us to explore the universe. What do you think? He looked at Xiaoping helplessly. To be honest, when he entered the universe, he felt very lonely. There were no helpers around him, and he was isolated and helpless. If the brothers of the Flat Sky sect of the Cloud Realm could come over, they would definitely be able to form a great force and help each other. In time, they would definitely be able to occupy a place in the universe. It's not impossible to roam the universe, but you also know how dangerous the universe is. There are countless geniuses and races. If you don't have enough talent, you're just cannon fodder. No matter how many die, it won't be enough. Xiaoping said in a low voice. Big brother, the brothers of the Flat Sky sect have come to their senses. They'd rather die a heroic death than stay in the cloud world and die a mediocre death. Feng Hatong said seriously. He expressed that even if the brothers of the Flat Sky sect had low talent, they wouldn't give up and still wanted to roam the universe. Wait, this problem isn't impossible to solve. Suddenly, Xiaoping thought of the zombie beast he'd obtained before. If the zombie beast woke up, it might be able to turn these brothers of the Flat Sky sect into geniuses with the Taotai bloodline. Then, he would be able to form a Taotai army. Their talent was extremely high. As long as they ate enough food, they would be able to constantly increase their cultivation and advance by leaps and bounds. Of course, doing so would greatly reduce their chances of becoming a sage. The problem was that their talent was low to begin with. It was extremely difficult for them to even reach the divine realm. Now that there was a chance for them to climb to a higher realm, it was no less than a great fortuitous encounter. Moreover, he didn't need geniuses who could become sages. As long as his subordinates could reach the returning nature realm, the transcendence realm, or even the thunder retribution realm, it would be completely enough. Imagine if there were hundreds of thousands, millions, or even tens of millions of thunder retribution realm experts on planet Yen Huang. This was enough to scare any Saint-class force to death. Although they wouldn't be able to dominate the universe, they would at least have a place. Big brother, do you have any solution? Feng Hatong's eyes suddenly lit up. There is indeed a solution, but let's wait until the matter of the heaven-accessing secret land is over. At that time, I'll return to the cloud world. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. It seemed that after the heaven-accessing secret land was over, he would have to return to the cloud world no matter what. Okay, big brother. Feng Hatong nodded. With Xiaoping's guarantee, he immediately felt relieved. The two chatted for a while. Xiaoping went to cultivate in seclusion to prepare for the trip to the heaven-accessing secret land in a week. Meanwhile, Feng Hatong left Yen Huang Peak. As soon as he left Yen Huang Peak, dozens of Qianquan sect disciples immediately appeared in front of Feng Hatong. They all looked at Feng Hatong with admiration and surprise. Brother Feng, no, Big Brother Feng, I didn't expect you to be so familiar with Senior Brother Xia. You can even enter his residence whenever you want. A Qiankuan sect disciple looked at Feng Hatong in awe. Hey, keep a low profile. We must keep a low profile. I have a good relationship with Big Brother Xia. We are friends of life and death. How can we casually tell others about this? Everyone, remember to keep it a secret. Feng Hatong put on a serious face and began to bluff. Friends of life and death? Many Qiankuan sect disciples were in awe. The way they looked at Feng Hatong was completely different. After all, who was Xia Ping? He was the last disciple of Dark North Saint. Now, he was a returning nature realm expert. He was a peerless genius who defeated 3 Transcendence Realm Elders. He was a sage seed. Such a person was the Prince of Qiankuan sect. He was second only to 1 and above millions. In time, if he became a sage, he would be an emperor. And Feng Hatong was actually very familiar with Xia Ping. He was equivalent to a trusted aide of the prince, a eunuch and a loyal lackey. Who would dare to offend such a relationship? Even if the elders of the sect knew about this, they would have to look at Feng Hatong in a different light. Brother Feng, I initially thought you were just an ordinary fatty. I didn't expect your relationship to be so deep. You even have a relationship with Senior Brother Xia. You are not simple. From today onwards, you are my brother. We will share blessings and misfortunes. Big Brother Feng, you must put in a good word for us in front of Senior Brother Xia in the future. We really admire him. Actually, I could tell that Brother Feng was not ordinary. With one look, I could tell that you are a great general. Your future is boundless. I just happened to get a jug of 1,000-year-old pure ice jade wine and an ice fire chicken. I wonder if Brother Feng is interested in having a meal with us? The group of Qiankuan sect disciples fawned on him. They wanted to build a relationship and become friends of scoundrels. Hey, you are too courteous. It is just an insignificant relationship. But since you guys are so passionate, it is hard for me to reject your hospitality. Let's eat together then. Feng Hatong was very proud of himself. The feeling of a fox borrowing the might of a tiger was really satisfying. Chapter 1701. At this moment, in the quiet room of Yan Huang Pi, Xia Ping was taking inventory of the large number of treasures he had obtained from Ma Guowei, Ma Xingping, and Ma Mingho. It could only be said that they were indeed Transcendence Realm cultivators. The number of treasures they had was simply innumerable. Just the value of the treasures alone was more than 30 billion universe dollars. As for some rare materials, peerless pills, and powerful treasures, these treasures could not be described with money at all. They could only be obtained by bartering. Not bad. Looks like these 3 cosmic sect elders are very rich. They actually obtained so many spirit herbs. The green ox also took inventory of the treasures and was very excited. Ice thorn grass, sorcerer's enchantment flower, summer wilt grass, knotweed, northern grass crow, and so on. These are all rather rare spirit herbs. The mountain river pearl doesn't have them yet, so they can make up for the lack. There are also a few supplementary spirit herbs for refining the longevity pill. This is really great. He guessed that perhaps the Ma clan's 3rd elder also planned to refine the longevity pill, so he prepared some pills related to the longevity pill. Otherwise, it would not be such a coincidence. They also have a lot of rare materials. Corinne's eyes lit up as well. 1,000 feet of silk, emerald sand, 3-star stone, red smelted fire copper, dark flower purple crystal, and other rare ores. These are all rare treasures in the universe. Money might not be able to buy them. With these materials, I believe we can speed up the repair of the Multitude Star and let it return to its peak state. He was very emotional. He had originally thought that it would take at least tens of thousands of years to repair the Multitude Star, but in just a few years, the repair speed of the Multitude Star exceeded his imagination. After all, Xia Ping had obtained countless treasures over the years, and some of them were used by him to repair the spaceship. It believed that when Xia Ping became stronger and obtained more treasures, the multitude star might once again be able to display the power of a Saint-grade spaceship and dominate the universe. Take all of them. Xia Ping was very generous and not stingy at all. This was because these treasures were not very useful for improving his cultivation. At his current wealth, mere transcendence treasures could not compare to him at all. The other party was a complete pauper. Of course, not all treasures were useless. This peerless spirit weapon, the Kuei Nyo heavenly diagram, was of great use to him. Through observing the Kuei Ox aspect, this magic treasure could condense the power of thunder and explode with a terrifying thunder array. If it could be upgraded to its peak state, that kind of power would be terrifying. With the help of this magical treasure and the Chaos Thunder art, he was able to comprehend many of the profound mysteries of thunder and lightning, which was very beneficial to his cultivation of thunder and lightning. Moreover, he could feel that the infernal Golden Crow bloodline in his body had increased to more than 9 million cells, and it was not far from 10 million cells. Once the number of Golden Crow hell cells reached 10 million, a terrifying heavenly tribulation would be inevitable. 1 week later, Xia Ping woke up from his closed-door cultivation. After this period of cultivation, he felt that his magic power had increased by a portion. The 9 primordial spirits on his body were all absorbing the energy of the dimensional space. It was like an energy whirlpool, causing his cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. The cultivation speed of others couldn't compare to his at all. He was becoming stronger every second. If he continued to cultivate for a few more years, he would be able to reach the peak of the returning truth realm without much difficulty. However, he did not choose to continue cultivating. After all, the heaven-accessing secret land was about to open. Master seems to be still in closed-door cultivation. Xia Ping originally wanted to talk to North Sea Saint and tell him about his doubts about his cultivation, but it seemed that North Sea Saint was still in closed-door cultivation and could not be contacted. He could only choose to give up. During this period of time, Nangong Wu, Qiushue, and Su Mei had also become familiar with the environment of the Heaven and Earth sect. Now everyone in the Heaven and Earth sect knew that they were Xia Ping's maids. Therefore, no one dared to provoke them in the Heaven and Earth sect. They all regarded them as Xia Ping's exclusive property. They lived a good life, which was many times better than staying in the Moon Pavilion. Now the 3 of them also often went to the various lecture halls of the Heaven and Earth sect to listen to the lessons of the elders of the Heaven and Earth sect. They were very busy and had a lot of experience and knowledge of cultivation. There was no need to say much about Feng Hatong. Relying on his relationship with Xia Ping, he had become a boss-level figure in front of many new disciples. Many true disciples and elders had to give him some face. Buzz, suddenly, the supreme heaven token on his body trembled, broke the space, and floated above his head, releasing wisps of golden light. The heaven-accessing secret land is about to open. Trial taker, please get ready. Immediately, a mechanical voice came from the supreme heaven token, shaking the surrounding space. Boom! The next second, an ancient and complicated formation emerged from the token, covering the whole Yen Huang Peak. Then a void door opened, connecting to the void. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He sensed that this space passage led to an ancient plane world, transmitting waves of war and killing intent, as well as waves of terrible demonic aura. Indistinctly, one could hear the roars of a powerful army, the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves, and the roars of storms and thunder. It was as if there was a terrible battlefield inside. This was the heaven-accessing secret land. It was said that this secret land was a plane world left by an invincible sage. It was extremely mysterious and had countless treasures. It became a battlefield for tens of thousands of races. But in the ancient war, the demons from the abyss invaded. In order to avoid destroying countless planets in the universe, the sages lured the demons from the abyss into the heaven-accessing secret land and fought with them. The sky fell and the earth cracked, the sun and the moon lost their light, and everything collapsed. Of course, in the end, all the demons from the abyss were buried in the heaven-accessing secret land. Many sages also died in it, which made the heaven-accessing secret land more dangerous and complicated, and also produced more magical treasures, which made countless practitioners drool. Go in. Xia Ping stood up and entered the space passage without hesitation. With a whoosh, the door closed, and the space passage disappeared quickly. Has the heaven-accessing secret land started? At this time, the vibration of the Supreme Heaven Token naturally attracted the attention of many big shots of the Qiankuan sect. Zhu Xian, the sect leader, also opened his eyes, revealing a glimmer of light. But they all knew that this was a strange phenomenon when the heaven-accessing secret land opened, so they didn't make a fuss. Junior brother Xia finally went to the heaven-accessing secret land. It is said that this time the heaven-accessing secret land is not ordinary. Many old monsters went in. Will junior brother Xia be in danger? Don't worry. Junior brother Xia is a person with great luck. He won't die so easily. Indeed, as long as he doesn't meet the mighty figures of the Thunder Tribulation realm, junior brother Xia won't be afraid. I can feel that junior brother Xia contains a big secret and has countless trump cards. I still hope that junior brother Xia will be careful. There are many foreign experts who want to kill him. Danger lurks everywhere. Chapter 1702. Whiz! At this moment, Xia Ping's figure flashed, passing through the spatial passageway and completely entering the heaven-reaching secret realm. The moment he entered, he immediately felt that this world was not ordinary. The entire world was incomparably sturdy, as if there were many heaven and earth great formations and restrictions set up. Ordinary powers could forget about destroying a single blade of grass or tree in this world. Dong! Xia Ping stepped on the ground and immediately encountered a huge obstacle. With a clanging sound, it was as if metal had collided, and a 1-meter-long crater appeared on the ground. If it was an ordinary planet, this stomp of his would be enough to create a crater that was dozens of miles deep. Stepping on a mountain would cause dozens of cracks to appear, forming an abyss. However, this was only a 1-meter diameter crater. The contrast was simply too great. Bang! Xia Ping once again punched a nearby rock. With a gotcha sound, the entire rock only cracked open, and the sound of metal colliding could be heard as sparks flew in all directions. Although he did not use his full strength, the power of this punch was enough to shatter a mountain. Now it could only create a crack. It was simply inconceivable. What a sturdy substance. There's a mysterious restriction array inside. I'm afraid even ordinary Jindan stage spiritual masters won't be able to cause much damage to this place. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. His divine sense could sense that this world was enveloped by a mysterious and unfathomable ancient restriction, and it was precisely because of the existence of these restrictions that this world was indestructible. Of course, it was not only because of the power of the restriction. The matter of this world itself was also extremely tyrannical, and ordinary powers could not even leave a mark on it. What a desolate world! Xia Ping looked around and immediately saw that everything within a radius of 10,000 li was in a state of desolation. There were potholes everywhere, just like the surface of the moon. There were many potholes, and it was incomparably desolate. Not a single plant grew, and everything within a radius of 10,000 li was dead silent. There was no sign of human habitation. He could feel that there was a tragic aura in the air within these potholes. There was a faint tyrannical will to fight that was imprinted in the air. It could be imagined that there had been countless tragic battles in this place. Even after they died, the will and aura they emitted were still imprinted in the air, and had not disappeared for hundreds of thousands of years. But where exactly is the longevity fruit? One of the reasons why Xia Ping entered the heavenly secret realm was to find the longevity fruit. The problem was that not many people knew where the longevity fruit appeared. After all, once the longevity fruit appeared, it would immediately be swarmed by countless supreme experts, crazily snatching it and plundering it clean. Therefore, every time he entered the heaven-reaching secret realm, he would need to find the place where the longevity fruit grew. However, some supreme expert could find the place where the longevity fruit grew according to the characteristics of the longevity fruit, increasing the probability of finding the longevity fruit. Xia Ping, there's no need to be anxious, Corinne said. As long as the news of the longevity fruit appears, it will definitely spread like wildfire, and everyone will know about it. At that time, we can naturally follow the vine to the melon, and even fish in troubled waters. You're right. Xia Ping nodded his head. He felt that he first needed to find the other trial takers who had entered the heaven-reaching secret realm. Only by joining hands with these people would he have any hope of obtaining news of the longevity fruit. Perhaps not every trial taker was friendly, and they might even be enemies. However, what he was best at was turning enemies into friends. If they weren't convinced, he would beat them into submission. After teaching them a lesson, he believed that they would be willing to cooperate with him. Xia Ping, there seems to be mana fluctuations in front of us. There are people fighting. Suddenly, Corinne sensed a strong battle ripple 10,000 miles away, as if someone was fighting. Let's go take a look. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He had also sensed that there were battle ripples coming from 10,000 miles away. His body flashed, transforming into a kuan purring and flying towards the battlefield. Whiz! A few minutes later, he passed through many mountains and arrived at a valley. Boom! But just as Xia Ping entered the valley, a large array instantly enveloped him, covering a radius of 1,000 miles. It was like an eggshell, sealing off the void without any blind spots. Dutian Raging Flame Formation. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He could immediately tell that this was a tyrannical restriction array. In the depths of the void, there were dense flames everywhere, forming an inescapable net. In the depths of this inescapable net, at the nodes of the array, there were dozens of experts guarding it, all of them emitting a tyrannical aura, at least at the returning true realm. This kind of array was very powerful, absorbing the power of the raging flames in the void. Once it exploded, it would burn the 5 regions for 1,000 miles. Even a Transcendence Realm expert might be burned alive. And these experts were not humans, they were all demons. They were the elites of the Western Universe's demon race, including the wolf race, leopard race, tiger race, goat race, crocodile race, and so on. Their eyes flickered, revealing an aura of greed, slaughter, bloodthirst, violence, and so on. They were incomparably crazy, ready to devour anyone. Haha, I didn't expect human fools to be fooled. Some leopard race elites laughed excitedly, staring at Xia Ping with bloodthirst. I already said that if we pretend this place is a battle, there will definitely be curious people coming over, trying to profit from the fight. As expected of Lang Beijiang, he is indeed an expert at seeing through people's hearts. I reckon they won't even know that this is a trap. It is our Western Universe's demon race lying in ambush here, a method to hunt our enemies. Entering the heaven-accessing secret realm to search for treasures is a lowly method. Only by killing people and snatching treasures can we obtain the most treasures. There is no risk and many benefits. Jie, everyone who can enter the heaven-accessing secret realm is basically a monster, overflowing with wealth. Killing one of them will give us a huge harvest, no less than a fortuitous encounter. I can't believe there is such a good thing waiting for us in the world. Our luck is too good. As the saying goes, if we don't accept the gift of the heavens, how can we not accept the benefits that are delivered to our door? Aren't we stupid? The heaven-accessing secret area is actually a battlefield of slaughter. You can strengthen yourself by hunting the elites of tens of thousands of races. This is the true meaning of the trial in the heaven-accessing secret area, rather than exploring the secret area and obtaining treasures. It's this human's bad luck to run into us demons. Kill this human and plunder all his treasures. Many demon race elites laughed evilly, their eyes revealing ferocity as they looked at Xia Ping mockingly. It was as if they were looking at a turtle in a jar, an insect that they could easily pinch to death. They clearly had victory in their grasp. The leader was the Wolf Clan's young master, Lang Beijiang. He was at the mid-stage of the Transcendence realm and was 5 meters tall. There was a vertical eye on his forehead that emitted a terrifying divine light. It seemed like once he opened it, he would release a world-shaking power.